We have Parker and Green in the backcourt, Leonard and Duncan at the forwards, Diaw in the middle.
Well, one thing we know about the Hornets, they are going to work at this end of the floor. Offense, they could have issues there. On the pick and roll, it's Tim Duncan. First points of the new season for the San Antonio Spurs on the assist from, what a shot, Tony Parker.
They're going to see a lot of that all night long.
San Antonio, believe it or not, behind them. And that's what the Spurs were known for, was their defense. But they were, by their standards, a juggernaut offensively. Duncan gets the roll. He's got the first four, and San Antonio leads by 4. Anthony Davis, and that's the first point to the new season. The guy that could be the franchise, and we certainly hope he is for the Hornets down the road.
Well, he gets his first basket off a great penetration by Blks, and he's standing there waiting and knocks down his first NBA basket.
Back to the basketball. It's Burns, Austin Rivers, as Danny Green gets the easy one inside. Anthony Davis trying to make a 3 for 3 from the outside. Still a 4-point lead for the Spurs. 4 minutes in and got to get back defensively. They recover on Tim Duncan. But somebody's got to stay with Tim Duncan. That's a key. A breakdown defensively and a 12-6 lead. 3-point game again. Diaw leaving it off. Glass open. No. Tim Duncan likes the glass despite that tough angle way out there, but that was a pretty good looking stroke. Duncan and stays with the play. So it was a mismatch once he got free inside. Deep at the clock, Davis up against the smaller Diaw. And denied. Lopez got to go. Got it off in time. And that'll do it. It'll be a shot clock violation. Lopez wanted the call. He won't get it. Leaves Danny Green, but waiting for him. Welcome to the Bigs, Tim Duncan.
Watch the rest of the team right now in their offense right now. They seem to be on their heels. They're letting the San Antonio Spurs get under them, get into them, and kind of dictate what they do on offense. And that's why they're not getting the baskets that they need right now.
Flare out for Tim Duncan as he went to his strong side. They didn't take away the right. Rivers looking for a triple. And Lopez got inside of Duncan. Boy, his work rate is very strong tonight. Almost kept it alive. Giving Duncan the other way. Nobody helped him out. Lopez did so much work but couldn't recover.
I like the energy that they have right now. They can stay with it.
Seen that too many times. And Leonard gets the equalizer. Kawhi Leonard, 2 seasons for Steve Fisher at San Diego State, a Southern California native.
And I tell you what, Alfred Firmino is embodying that. He's an Olympic player. He played for the Nigerian Olympic team this last go-round. His name means the Chief has arrived, and that's his nickname now on the Hornets, the Chief. And he's putting that Olympic experience and that nickname to good use right now, Joel.
Well, he has been the X factor so far, Jen. Thank you. Duncan getting by Anderson. And the easy deuce. Diaw sets up Duncan, and he's going to the line looking for the 3-point play. Again, Duncan. And staying with it, puts San Antonio back on top. They're getting too close to the rim on these bounce entries.
Well, they're trying to front Duncan.
And that'll do it. As the Spurs take the opener of the new season.
A beautiful day in San Antonio, Texas has given way to a perfect night as they fill every seat for their hometown Spurs. It's the home opener for the Spurs and the season opener for the defending Western Conference champion Oklahoma City Thunder. So Oklahoma City's been on an 8-0 run, San Antonio on a 7-0 run, and here comes Parker the other way. More of a European style offense now with the Spurs.
Driving kick and 3-pointers. Or especially early on in the Tim Duncan era, the ball went through him and they played inside out. A lot of times now it's penetration by Tony Parker to get this team going.
Cephalosha goes right into Tim Duncan, who alters the shot, and Diaw. Green. Oh, a nice pass by Duncan. Leonard could not find the handle. Durant knocked away by Tim Duncan as Durant was locked and loaded.
Tim Duncan turning back the hands of time right here. The block shot on Kevin Durant. Age, what age?
And here comes Kevin Martin.
A very efficient scorer in his own right. You saw the career averages of those 5 of 8 seasons he's been in the NBA. He's averaged over 20+ points. And Tim Duncan knocked down a 17-footer.
Was terrific last year, averaging 23 points and 7 assists against Oklahoma City in the regular season. Duncan is in, and right off the bat puts in a sweet left-handed baby hook. Nice steal by Martin. Into Green. Durant. Leonard. Diaw. Duncan. Into Perk.
Old man Riverwalk. Getting it done still.
Martin. 3. Durant. Picked up by Tim Duncan. 4th rebound into Kawhi Leonard. The early release and the 2 at the other end.
What hasn't Tim Duncan done in this first half?
Woo! How about that? Did you just see that? He just dropped his sledgehammer. Duncan with 12. This is a guy who played over 30 minutes last night at the age of 36.
Click, click. Kodak moment. Remember, they had just won a championship in Boston with Kendrick Perkins. They had the best record at All-Star break, and then they trade one of their big pieces, and it was Rajon Rondo's best friend on the team, and it's almost like they had no more life for the second half of the season.
Parker to Duncan. What a pass and what a finish. And then there's Parker. Working on Durant. Duncan the screen with the switch. Now Perkins there. Shot clock is down to 7. Jackson. Duncan. What a pass.
How about Steven Jackson not settling for that three-point shot, understanding that both Durant and Perkins ran out at him.
16 for Durant in 28 minutes. He's taken 13 shots to get 16. Westbrook has taken 12 shots to get 12 points.
And having said all that, they're only down by 5 points, but those two guys, they're not shooting the ball great, but within striking distance. Both of those guys are lethal at the offensive end, and now you add Kevin Martin, who can score in bunches as well.
Duncan. So Duncan has got a 23-minute, 18-point night and 6 rebounds. Green slipping, defended by Cephalosha. It's Parker. Good! A cold-blooded, game-winning shot by Parker to beat the defending Western Conference champions.
Jazz go low baseline now with Al Jefferson. Parker helps out to try to dig it out, and Al goes to the basket, but he got right underneath the basket. Mo Williams, a veteran, he'll make some adjustments, but it's a tough guard as a jump ball is called. Paul Millsap took it right at Tim Duncan. Back to action here. The Jazz trailing 13-5 early. In the lane, a little jump hook, and it's good by Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a guy who, wow. Duncan off the curl of his own. He looked like Matt Harpring extended about 8 inches.
And that's your 6'11", 16th year in the NBA player coming off a curl. Tim Duncan looks like he's 6 years younger than Mo Williams with 8 points. He's leading for the starters. For the Spurs, continue shooting 72%.
Parker lets the defense go by, and then quick passing by the Spurs. Leonard catch, and that patented little bank shot off the glass.
But such good team ball movement. Everyone's unselfish. Tim Duncan looks spry.
Meantime, Parker and Green have 14 and 13 respectively for San Antonio. And the Spurs, you know, when it goes for you, doesn't it? And I think that one's going to be called good as well. 5 seconds. Al has it blocked and stolen away by Duncan.
Wow.
What a play. They'll bring that second unit in and see if they can't energize. Well, Duncan with a turnaround.
So good, so fundamentally sound.
Going to keep San Antonio away from that free throw line as long as possible, and yet still play tough defense. Duncan's left open, but couldn't handle the ball. Look at the mismatch there. You got Mo Williams trying to slap it away. Oh, what a spin
This is
move.
a 36-year-old right here. A spin move.
Unbelievable. And Duncan extends the lead to 4 again. Last 4 shots, by the way, were made by Big Al, but Duncan on the other end with the answer. And they'll just dribble it out. But the Utah Jazz, with a valiant effort, are going to fall tonight. 110 to 100 here.
He's still Tony Parker.
Yes, he is.
And a sick Tony Parker is better than healthy, not everybody else.
And he'll have the ball, and the Spurs on the move. You can see they want to get Cousins going early over Duncan. And a rebound to Juan Blair.
Yeah, good shot for Cuz. Just didn't get that one. As you said, though, they'd really like to make Duncan work hard on the defensive end.
And that's vintage Tim Duncan right there. No Thomas Robinson tonight. Very important for Cousins to stay out of foul trouble along with Jason Thompson. What a start for Duncan, who now has scored 6.
You played with Cisco.
I did. Cisco was a rookie my first year here.
And that was the year he hurt himself in Cleveland trying to get a ball out of the stuck out of the rim.
Give us your thoughts on DeMarcus's development as he begins his 3rd year, Sharif.
You see the effort that he gives defensively, the way he tries to get out, take charges. He's really buying into what Coach Smart wants to do. And, you know, the more and more he does that, it's going to bid well for him, but, you know, for our whole organization.
Duncan 5 of 5.
There you go.
And 4 of them have been from the perimeter. Yeah. You know, I mean, he just, no hesitation.
Duncan, nice pass. Boy, he knows everything, doesn't he? He just is so aware of the court.
He really is. I mean, it's like, well, it's MVPs and all that back it up.
And Green hits a 3.
That's what Danny Green is out there to do, is to hit spot-up shots when the other players create all the problems, Duncan and Parker in particular.
Cousins with 7 in the game. Blocked, Duncan with it. 3-on-1 developing. And a basket in transition makes it 55-43. Look at that help defense by Duncan.
Yeah, Isaiah, no chance there. He thought he was at the basket, but Duncan just extended and kind of like a volleyball block.
Duncan has 15 points.
Always under control. Have you ever seen Tim Duncan look out of control?
I have not, no. That's the 20th turnover, by the way, for the Spurs. Duncan that time got the first one, and now he fouls Cousins, who will get to the line and a chance to make it a 3-point game. Kings fortunately get the bounce of the ball to Evans. Cousins. Block shot. And now they take it away from him. Leonard. And that's a blocking foul on Brooks. He was in the restricted zone. Tyreek still not showing the ability, Jared, to hit that open outside shot.
No, he hasn't. It's really frustrating for him and everyone else. Those are shots you just got to make.
Wow. Kings just did not get back on defense, and it was a simple 2-on-1 with Duncan and D now, Jared.
Yeah, that was a breakdown, just a total breakdown.
89-81.
Yeah, you'd think 91 would probably win this game.
Yep. Well, there it is. Tim Duncan, he has 21. I really think when you look at this game, as you look at Isaiah Thomas stolen, and that will do it as Mills. Pretty move, that's the ball game. But I think the difference in this game, the Kings only have 15 points off 20 turnovers, and you've got to have more than 15 when a team turns the ball over 20 times. Well, this team, they are just like a well-oiled machine when the game is on the line. 95-83. I'll tell you one thing, this is the best I've seen Tim Duncan look in about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, his body, I mean, it obviously looked like he's even lost a little weight, but his skill, I mean, his outside shot was on track. Obviously just a great performance from one of the all-time great players.
97-86, the final. The Spurs win it.
Tim, no problem with the tap as the Spurs come up with it. Spurs with 8 on the shot clock. Mills picks it out. Timmy, little low catch. Not a problem as he knocks it down. Spurs up 4-2. Duncan against Aldridge. Timmy up and under with a left hand.
What a move there.
Wow. Matthews loves that three-point shot. And look at this. Green and Mills. And then Tim with the two-hand block. Leonard. And offensive foul. Batum for 3.
Now, see, that's where Batum, and I kind of tried to compare him to Scottie Pippen earlier. They have the same type of body. He's a much better shooter. He's a terrific athlete. If he could play that type of defense that Scottie played over the years, he'd be a reincarnation.
7 straight for Portland after a 6-0 Spurs run. Duncan quickly off the glass as he takes care of Hickson there, and it's 17-12. And Tim looking sharp again tonight. Duncan counters Aldridge's shot of his own, and team swapping out now at 19-14. Lillard with 13 points.
And a lot of assists. Nice ones, and some non-assists that lead to easy buckets.
Tim counters to stop that 8-0 run. Spurs back within 8 as Duncan, 5 of 6 for his 10 points, 4 rebounds. Mills saves. Duncan outleaps Lillard. Manu with a reverse, and the Spurs fortunate there.
Wow, what a beautiful bounce pass from Tim Duncan, right on the money. And Manu Ginobili taking a page maybe out of Thiago's book. Nice reverse layup.
Hickson misses twice, blocked by Duncan on the 3rd attempt, and Aldridge puts it up and in. Matthews trying to go top shelf. Tim puts an end to that, but Hickson, the follow-up is good.
Hickson's playing one of his better games so far. He's been extremely active.
Spurs turn it over. Duncan gets it back and stuffs it. A huge play by Timmy. Wow.
What a swing. Looks like a definite turnover, and the Blazers look like they have numbers, and Timmy ends up dunking the ball.
Neal, 7 seconds. They hedge, double team him. Manu inside Duncan. Scores, and he's fouled as Duncan with 1 second on the shot clock. Oh my goodness, an and one for Tim. Steven Jackson, no timeouts. They go deep. Matthews, 2 seconds. Aldridge, no! Spurs win, 112-109. What a thriller here in Portland.
All right, the weekend with Bernie extends into Tuesday. Bernie Bickerstaff once again on the bench for the Lakers. Mike D'Antoni, introduced a little bit later this week, but now the focus is on basketball. Dwight, little bit extending the range right there, and Tim Duncan with the rebound, averaging 18.9, 9.7 rebounds, and he leads the team in blocks. Danny Green, that's his 15th three this year, tops the San Antonio Spurs. Kobe, he's got another one, nothing but net.
Boy, he set that up perfectly. Everybody thought he was going to come off that little brush screen and go quicker to the basket.
Field goal percentage sky high to start this year, 53.5%. Duncan uses the glasses, good as anybody in basketball.
Maybe better.
Here is Bryant, outside. Jordan Hill, Mr. Activity, underneath, can't finish, keeps it alive, loose basketball. And here's Tony Parker. Parker all the way. You got to stop Tony Parker.
You at least got to challenge the shot.
Yeah. Last year the season series went to San Antonio, 2-1. And they met a ton of times in the playoffs too as Duncan rattles it home. Tim Duncan, top 25 all time. NBA scoring and rebounding, a 2-time MVP. And there's Parker again in attack mode. All slips it under to Duncan, who dunks it home.
See, that time Dwight stepped out, made Parker pick up his dribble.
Again, they've done a wonderful job sprinkling in some youth and some fresh legs to go along with these savvy veterans that just played the perfect game. Parker bouncing to Duncan for 2. 13th foul on the Lakers here in the quarter. Duncan wide open straight away, and then he knocks it down. Lakers a plus 12 in the rebound department. World Peace collects it back. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. World Peace wide open. There is Hill trying to slam on Duncan.
Yeah, but he lost control of it before Duncan could really make a good play on it.
As Mike Trudell was alluding to a moment ago, underneath, great pass, good cut, and the basket goes to Tim Duncan. 10 on the shot clock. Jackson. A wild and crazy Steven Jackson at times during his career. Duncan double, Duncan up and under and score. Talk about fundamental basketball right there. 7-1 San Antonio run. Here is Duncan. Still plenty of time on the clock as Leonard comes around the pick and buries a mid-range jump shot. Kawhi Leonard. Parker. Back to Duncan. He can be lethal from out there.
Wait, did they call a timeout? What's the problem here?
Everybody looking at the official.
One official blew his whistle as if he was saying, I'm respecting your timeout request.
And Pop is hot. I don't know if they're going to count the basket. Let's wait. It's still not on the board here.
Well, they haven't made a determination yet. Maybe they're reviewing World Peace's last basket.
They got to shoot right here with 3, with 2. It's going to be Tim Duncan to the basket, scoring.
That was too easy for 6 seconds.
Shot clock is off. Lakers lead by 1. Green will fire early and hit it. Green hits a 3, and it's a 2-point Spur lead with 9.3 remaining. Kobe does not get it. It's to Powell. Powell with the basketball. We got 6 seconds left. Powell shoots from the corner. No good. Splitter. Battle underneath. 1 second left. Game over. San Antonio gets out of Staples Center with a 2-point victory. 84-82.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup for San Antonio tonight. As Tim Duncan loosens up, Steven Jackson back in place of Kawhi Leonard in the starting lineup. DeJuan Blair, Danny Green, and Tony Parker tonight for the Spurs. Spurs off to a slow shooting start. Have had some good looks. Duncan. There's one. Gets it in over Jordan. And the Spurs now make it a 9-4 ball game. Chris Paul against Tony. Finds Jordan with that high bounce pass, blocked by Duncan. And then Paul gives it to Green. Timmy with a rebound. Oh, DeJuan Blair tripped up by Blake Griffin. No call there. Griffin brings it back on the bounce. 10 on the shot clock for Duncan. Against Griffin.
Oh, that's a terrific up and under. Again, just so patient in the low block against a guy who's supposedly stronger and more athletic.
Timmy on the drive. Second and third effort as he just continues to battle him. And Duncan makes it 15-10 on his 6-point. He's got 5 boards with it. Griffin, they clear for him to go against Tiago. Got his own. There is Jordan. Duncan finally corrals it. Bringing it on the break. Still on the dribble. Timmy all the way to the rack. Magic Duncan.
Not
my partner's speechless for a moment.
Speechless.
Chris Paul wanting to post up. Got away from Tony. Kicks it back out. Rotates to Barnes. Timmy holds off Jordan for the rebound, and Tony will bring it across. Duncan to the rack. No. Got his own. Going up. Got this one.
Strong play there from Timmy. He's going to pick up a technical foul here. He wanted an and one.
Well, the Spurs, a game after they did 16 threes, Duncan drives and scores here. Tonight, the Spurs are 2 of 10 from 3. And the Clippers have won the first 2 meetings between the two, 92-87. The Los Angeles Clippers extend their winning streak to 6.
Doc hoping the legs are back underneath his club as they take on the Spurs. They will send out starters Tony Parker and Gary Neal in the backcourt, Danny Green, Tim Duncan, and DeJuan Blair. Blair at the center spot, which means Duncan and Kevin Garnett may or may not get matched up. We'll see how the Celtics break out. Green finds Parker. Duncan straight away for 2. Been doing that for a long time. Spurs have hit 3 of 4 shots. Green for 2 along the baseline.
Smart move. Normally when a guy cuts through, he goes out the opposite end. He came back to the same side. Duncan recognized it.
Green pulls it back out, down to 2 on the shot clock. Garnett harasses him. Rebound Duncan, though, on the offensive glass. Back up for 2. Duncan. 35 straight games now for Rondo with 10 or more assists. Parker trying to lay it down. Duncan stays with it. Gets 2. 9 points, 9 rebounds now for Duncan in the game. Bass has Duncan this time. That's silly how easy that looks.
Well, he went right over the top of a smaller defender.
Garnett has to shoot it to beat the shot clock. Rebound Duncan. Duncan now with 13 points and 11 rebounds. Nice pass. Blair gets 2. That's what you were talking about earlier, Scal.
Exactly. I don't understand why people don't love this. This is like the most exciting game I've ever seen this year.
Bass comes up short.
72%.
Yeah, we were pretty good.
And
Did he
Duncan.
dribble?
No, he didn't. Rondo was looking for travel. Let's see what happened here.
Down him. Yeah, looking at the offensive rebounds, if you have a team, like you said, you got Garnett. Garnett's playing mostly at the high post. This team is deep. This team could crash the offensive rebounds and get back.
Parker misses. Oh, good play, Duncan. Little tip to Splitter. We're back. Parker tries to kick it out to Duncan. Does get it to him. 10 on the clock. Duncan a little fall away. Goes 20 and 15 the numbers for Duncan. Spurs the ball on an 8-point lead. Duncan lays it down. Splitter lays it in. San Antonio Spurs 112. And the Celtics 100. That's the final score.
San Antonio was 9-3. Tim Duncan and company 5-1 on the road. They've got some injury issues. They've already used 6 starting lineups. Tim Duncan and Danny Green are the forwards. DeJuan Blair, we saw him off the bench earlier in the month in San Antonio. And Gary Neal and Tony Parker in the backcourt for Greg Popovich in his 17th season as an NBA head coach. He has 4 NBA titles. Tonight, Duncan and Parker are playing in their 774th game together, and you can see right there. Now Hibbert outside's jump shot good.
You can see he's shooting it with confidence, because he hesitated taking that same kind of shot when the Pacers played in San Antonio. Not that time. Went right into it.
So already 2 baskets. He had just one against Duncan and the Spurs on November the 5th, and now Duncan comes back and hits his second field goal.
As you remember the game in San Antonio, that was one of the problems. The Pacers missed some jump shots, but they never got close to the rim. So far, we had a Duncan one right there at the rim.
Yeah, Pacers shot 34% from the field as Duncan hits again. They've got their 5 starters in. That's Blair.
Yeah, they'll do that. It's almost like a zone action where they'll read it. Duncan flashes, or that forward flashes, and the other guy just goes to the back. They call it a back cut. See, that's the same place he just drove from. So Roy Hibbert was so concerned about him driving that he didn't do a very good job of forcing Duncan to do something he wasn't prepared to do.
Now Duncan hits again. That's how they started the first half. Quinn, here's the story. Duncan and Parker combined 17 of 26 from the field. Now 18 of 27. The rest of the team.
Yeah, the rest of the team is 5 of 25.
That's Duncan left it short. West the rebound. Duncan then took it away.
And West he normally is able to take that ball and put it over his head and nobody can get to it. Duncan with those long arms was able to get it cleanly. You can see Paul George now on Tony Parker. Boy, I'm talking about clearing space. I mean, with Tony Parker, he drew both Paul George, who was guarding him, and Roy Hibbert. That's why the wide open shot was made by Tim Duncan. So they put Tim Duncan on David West.
And now the Pacers are taking some bad shots. 8-0 run by San Antonio. Parker.
Oh my goodness. Dial did the same thing against Boston when they were making a run at it. I mean, he made almost a touch pass, and it really can be debilitating. These Pacers have to go back and regroup here.
Augustine was hit by Duncan. That will be it. And the San Antonio Spurs will rally in the 4th quarter and beat the Indiana Pacers tonight 104-97. They outscore Indiana 31-20 in the 4th. The Spurs now 10-3 on the year, 6-1 away from home.
Look at the Spurs starting lineup for this afternoon. Neal, Blair, Duncan, Green, and Parker. Duncan over Valanciunas. Tim Duncan has been spectacular. 20 or more points in each of his last 3 games, and he keeps adding a season high in rebounds. He had 17 of them in Indiana. Sean, he worked so hard in the offseason, and he admitted this offseason he played more basketball as opposed to just the lifting and the training.
Yeah, he did. And he's come in with a nice rhythm going. You know, it was difficult in the lockout year for Tim to get, or anybody to get much basketball in. So this offseason, Tim did a great job, and As we all know, he doesn't take a whole lot of time off. He keeps his body in great shape.
Give to Valanciunas. Out of his hands and into the hands of Duncan. Up ahead. Stolen by Bargnani. And a block by Tim Duncan. Tony Parker finds Tim. Has all 4 of the Spurs points. Make it all 6 of the Spurs points as he goes baseline and with the left hand up and under. When your best player is also your most competitive, everybody else falls in line, it seems. Tim with the pass to Tony.
Absolutely. And it's contagious. We're lucky. Our big 3 are all super competitive.
Spurs down just 1. They are down no longer. Danny Green with the 3. 32 consecutive games hitting a 3-point field goal. Manu, Duncan, Diaw. That's how the Spurs share the basketball.
Nice unselfish play.
Gary Neal with another rebound. His second. Manu jab step. Now Duncan slips inside for Diaw. Goes under and in.
Great
team
read
up again.
There. Yeah, great read there from Manu to find Tim on the slip.
Toronto snaps the tie. Tim Duncan, the patience of Tim Duncan. Diaw lobs for Duncan, and that is goaltending. And I don't think DeRozan needed to do that.
Not one of DeRozan's smarter plays right there, I think.
Tied at 45. Manu for Tim, who finishes. Consecutive rebounds for Danny Green. There's the Spurs' first field goal.
Nice patience there from Tim.
Tipped up and in, Tim Duncan. He has 18. Tony Parker and Kyle Lowry. Tony has 21. Finds Tim with that baby hook, and Tim has 20. Duncan, 20 points today. Manu has tied this game at 86. 11 points for Ginobili, and they've all come in the second half. 13th tie of the game. Duncan gives the Spurs the lead. 22 for number 21. DeRozan blocked. Loose. Parker comes away. There's no catch and shoot here. It has to be tipped. About 5 more minutes. Spurs will play their first overtime game of the season. Bargnani. Blocked by Duncan. Maybe it's good our young Spurs fan has those headsets on, doesn't have to hear these Raptor fans.
Yeah. The locals are getting a little restless.
Nice inside. Boris finds Tim.
What a look from Boris there.
Calderon. DeRozan. 5 seconds left. DeRozan goes to work. Too strong. Got it back. Ties the game. Intercepted. About a second overtime. High-low. Duncan to Ginobili.
Great seal there from Manu and Tim finding him down there.
Spurs remain perfect on this road trip. Tony Parker, 32 points. And the Spurs with a 111-106 win over the Toronto Raptors.
For San Antonio, Parker, Gary Neal, DeJuan Blair, Tim Duncan, and Danny Green. That corner 3 has been really good to him this year, Flawless. Blair, not much of a high riser, had one blocked away, but Duncan is there to put it in. Another second chance basket. All of 4 of their field goals have come on second shots. Diaw drives underneath. Now Duncan scoops it in and gives San Antonio a 1-point lead. Boris Diaw, Tim Duncan. Diaw, an excellent passing. And he'll get the assist there with Tim Duncan. A 10-0 run for San Antonio. Baby had no place to go. Duncan rejects another. Glenn Davis stayed with it, however. Finally gets the points for the Magic. There's more to the front court. He'll take it all the way. DeJuan Blair, not a shot blocker at all. And E'Twaun Moore, good recognition of that, went right to the rim.
How about the confidence there by E'Twaun Moore? He missed a runner before, and he's missed a lot of runners so far in the early part of the season. He just can't get him to drop. I was about to say maybe while that runner is waiting to go down for him, he's got to get the ball right to the rim, right to the basket a little bit more. He's big and strong enough that he can go in there amongst taller players and finish one off or draw some fouls.
Ginobili defended by Aflalo. Now Duncan shoots over Redick and banks it in. 10 for Tim Duncan. This is for 3. It is not good. The rebound by Gary Neal. Throws it ahead to Parker. 2 seconds left. Duncan will fire at the horn. It's good for 2. Tim Duncan beats the horn with a long 2-point shot. A follow shot won't go. Harkless with an offensive rebound. Magic can't get to the free throw line. And can't get the tip to go in either. Duncan goes behind his back. Now throws it ahead to Parker. Duncan blocking the shot. Redick. Aflalo challenging Duncan again. Scores this time on Tim Duncan. Now Parker again runs the pick and roll with Duncan. Back to 10, and they run the pick and roll very effectively. Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. And the Magic have been a good defensive team this year. Tonight, not as much. Davis, nice feed, and DeQuan Jones is fouled by Ginobili. And the Spurs will go 9-1 on the road this season. Greg Popovich's club off to a great start in the Western Conference.
For the San Antonio Spurs, more wins than anybody except the Oklahoma City Thunder with 13. Parker, Neal, DeJuan Blair, Tim Duncan, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard remains out for Greg Popovich. Blair goes to work. Duncan, I bet he calls bank. Blair goes straight in.
A little bit too far towards the corner to use that patented bank shot, but you're right, partner.
Green had it stripped, got it back. Manu Ginobili has checked into the ball game. Duncan, nice move, going right at Gasol because Mark's got 2 fouls. Dribble penetration by Tony Parker. Perimeter shot making by Tim Duncan. Duncan matched up against Spates. Tim Duncan, twice an MVP, 9 times first team All-NBA. Gasol, Randolph, and Ellington return. And Tim Duncan got the good bounce. Duncan takes Gasol in the middle, double clutch, Duncan in. Ellie talked to Rob Fisher during Grizzlies Live tonight about muscle memory, being in the gym, getting up a lot of shots. Ginobili, give and go with Duncan. Duncan got Gasol in the air. And then a 3-point play. Grizzlies did not rotate defensively. And that will be 3 on Marc Gasol. Bad pass. Grizzlies, 7th turnover. Ginobili, the wraparound to Duncan. Duncan with 17. His season high is 24. With Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight on Pete Branigan, Grizzlies and Spurs, first of 4 meetings. Duncan, a deep look, and Tim Duncan is rolling in some kind of huge way tonight. 9 of 12 for Duncan, 19 points in the first half.
How about that? 2 small market teams. The best teams in the Western Conference.
Parker overlays, rebound, Duncan, no look to splitter. Spurs have hit 3 of their last 5 from long range. Making 4 of 6. Gary Neal. Neal did nothing whatsoever in the first half. He's got 11 here in the second half. Duncan, a turnaround. First points of the second half for Duncan, 23 for the night. Neal, long 2. Duncan taps the rebound. Parker's got it with 60 seconds remaining. Ginobili for the tie. Gasol shakes free from Duncan. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. Conley, 3 seconds. Bayless, 2 seconds for the lead. It's going to be off. And we go to overtime.
Shot clock down to 3. Ginobili, it's a long 2. Rimming no. Rebound Bonner.
So I said tired legs kicking in.
Parker, tipped in by Duncan. A lob for Darrell Arthur, couldn't corral it, throws it away, and there's the ball game. Spurs win it in overtime, 99-95.
And the starting lineup for Pop's crew tonight: Boris Diaw, Duncan, DeJuan Blair, Gary Neal, and Tony Parker. Timmy from Tony, and he muscles it up and in. That's an and one.
Hey, he's too strong. Pop's throwing out some skeleton crews out there, lineup-wise. See if these guys can find some rhythm.
Gary Neal brings it back. Duncan back in the lineup, sets up against D'Alembert. Timmy quick to the hole and good. Lamb blocked by Diaw, comes off to Blair. Outlet to Parker. Good hustle by Boris to get back on that play.
Oh, Boris showing some hops too.
Timmy in the paint, lays it up and in. Tie ball game at 38. Spurs 7 in a row. Boris is pretty savvy. He's not going to be forced into bad shots.
No, and the way you do that is you come out there, you chop your steps. You don't sprint out to a shooter.
And that was like a fluffy croissant, the way he set it up to Tim.
Yes, it was nice and flaky and delectable.
Parker to Duncan. Tim's pass deflected. Corey Joseph comes up with it, gives it back to Tim. He drives and scores. Wow. Just the way they draw it up.
Exactly, I was about to say. Making some lemonade there.
Juan inside a minute now. Parker with it. Drops it off for Duncan with a stop.
There you go, big fella.
Udo, as Diaw got a piece of it. Duncan to Neal to Parker. Got it for 2.
Good patience from Tony there on the break. Just lets Monte Ellis outrun the play.
Monte Ellis with 8 points and 1 of 8 shooting. He's hit all 6 of his free throws. James Anderson.
Great pass.
James Anderson's a guy that, who knows?
Yeah.
He basically lost his job because of injury, and Gary Neal took advantage of it. Jennings over Duncan. Udo blocked by Timmy. Bonner recovers. Here comes Manu. The Spurs go to 15-4. The Bucks fall to 8-9, and the Spurs win for the 16th time in the last 17 meetings with the Bucks here at the AT&T Center in San Antonio.
And we welcome you to NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm, Salt Lake City, Utah, and the Energy Solutions Arena has been the solution once again this year for the Utah Jazz. They're 8-1 at home, but tonight they face Tony Parker and the Spurs. 18-4 overall. They started the day with the overall best record in the league. The Thunder, having won tonight, are also 18-4. Tim Duncan, though, just having another all-star season, better than the last couple of years. Fountain of youth, Timmy has found here in his 16th season for San Antonio.
Terry, most teams come into Salt Lake City and they really conscious of the pace. Not the case here. San Antonio wants to push pace. The Utah Jazz are going to be the ones keeping an eye on the pace of this game.
Yeah, normally you come in at elevation somewhat. You're on the road. It's at one of the loudest arenas in the league. Difficult place to get a win on the road. Spurs won't slow it down, though. Duncan right to work with a strong move in the lane at the age of 36. Duncan just left alone. Too easy underneath from Parker.
But that's the pace, Terry. Quick post up, quick deep catch. Tony Parker, no hesitation. The ball swung side to side.
A two-man game. Jefferson had it blocked at the rim. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Jazz. 9 on the shot clock for Jefferson. Pulls up over Duncan. Sweet-looking jumper. He takes you outside for this one. Al's averaging 17 points per game and almost 11 boards per game. And doing it at the defensive end. San Antonio has missed, well, 8 of their last 10 shots now as Duncan stops that drought with the sweet left-hand finger roll. Come off the bench with players like Manu Ginobili. And you go 10 deep, and you're solid. You match up with other teams. You and I were looking at it today, and you would take the Spurs player over other players at that position. And another hoop, little easy lay-in for Tim Duncan. Duncan to work, the spin, the foul, chance for 3. Tim Duncan at the age of 36, just pushing back the clock. I mean, he has had an unbelievable start to this season.
Vintage Tim Duncan. You can show tape from 1996. You can show tape from when he was in college. He's the same player. With a little diminished role, he's as efficient, which is incredible at this point in his career.
7 on the shot clock as Jefferson tries to defend Duncan with help from Ford. It doesn't matter. He goes the other way and just creates and makes it look easy. Jefferson blocked by Duncan, 6th in the league in blocks, whereas Diaw controls down the lane, scoops it up and in. Somehow found a way, the 10th-year veteran out of France. Duncan, 15-footer over Jefferson, and taking the inside on one side of the floor and going outside on the other. You know about Jefferson in the paint. You know about Millsap in the paint. But when you add the 3, it opens up everything inside. Williams, Duncan comes over for the block, averaging almost 2.5 blocks per game. Pretty impressive what Vinny Del Negro and the Clips have done out west so far this year. Deepest team in the NBA, maybe too, or effectiveness. Boy, nice spin off the glass and the fadeaway for Duncan. And Parker, Ginobili, Duncan and company rarely phase down the stretch on the road. Inside out 2-man game, wide open jumper for Parker.
And you can't come double with Tim Duncan looking right at the defender. Too easy.
Millsap using his body. Blocked by Duncan. 6 blocks for Duncan tonight. Parker picked it up, put it back down, a double dribble. Jazz coming off a big win on the road over the Lakers on Sunday and trying for another big one here at home over the team with the best record in the league when the day started, and now sharing that mark with the Thunder. Here we go. Hayward to inbound again. Williams comes up, controls, screen on him. Look for a screen, Hayward goes away. Mo's got to go now, launches the 3, got it! Mo Williams with the game winner at the buzzer. And the Jazz take down the Spurs.
For the Spurs, Tony Parker and Gary Neal. Thiago Splitter in the middle, Tim Duncan and Danny Green.
Iguodala and Gallinari at the same time. They can switch the same guys and both be good defenders.
Duncan working his way in over Kufis.
That's a post move right there, isn't it?
Nice one. Spurs have played 16 road games, so they've gotten a lot of action out on the road. And another pass by the Nuggets. Intercepted, and that's the second giveaway. Careless. Gallinari 6 on the clock. Into McGee. Tries to shoot. Blocked by Duncan. McGee hang, yes, to beat the clock. Splitter is second in the NBA in field goal percentage. Duncan again, and he nails it.
And that's a design play, the high pick and roll. If you roll back and cover Splitter with the weak side guy, Duncan flies to the elbow.
Duncan's got 8 points in the early going. Dumping low, off Duncan. Some hands right there. And Splitter with an acrobatic land and a foul.
Oh, nice push, Ginobili.
And right under the basket. The Nuggets forgot about the basketball.
Well, that's what we talked about in the second middle game. Ginobili went for the ball, but then he takes himself out of position.
Splitter under to Duncan, and he lays it in. It's a nice play that the Spurs run. Corey Brewer. Ginobili comes out with it.
Boy, Ginobili grabbed Iguodala. He's talking to Derek Richardson.
Pass underneath Diaw. Nice assist, Tim Duncan.
They just don't panic. You get a couple runs, and you miss a shot, and they come right back at you.
Lawson, great fake, down the lane, scoop it up. No, it's blocked by Duncan. Gallinari right around Green, and Duncan missed it. And Duncan right there. Doesn't go for the fake, put his hand up, got a little piece of it there. Parker on the back cut, and he lays it in. Jax, high arc 3, good.
And just a little slow getting out there, and Jackson able to kind of take his time, a slower delivery when he shoots that 3.
Parker in the lane, Nuggets shut him off, Duncan. And Kufis looks at Gallo, and Gallo says, who, me? Gallo, no, off the front of the rim. Without Freed in, not much action on the offensive glass.
And another jump shot.
Parker around everybody. Duncan.
He lowers that shoulder, gets around, you collapse down on him. Denver's turned into a jump shooting flat foot team.
Back cut! Duncan with a beautiful block. On the reverse side.
Duncan scooping underneath to Diaz.
See, all of a sudden you start worrying about Duncan. Diaz will not stand flat-footed. Kenneth's going to watch Timmy try to see if he can help Goofus. His man gets a layup. Got to match the physicality of San Antonio.
Duncan may go for the bank shot here. And he dumps it in. So the Spurs closing in, 98-92 now. Duncan out to Mills.
And there's Ty cheating again. Boom. I don't know why Ty keeps doing this. It's the 4th time or 5th time that Patty Mills is knocked down a 3.
103-95. Duncan away from his man, and the Spurs are executing now.
But Duncan has not been out of the lane.
He's got it now, and he dunks it again. And Duncan has turned back the clock. He's got 29. 1 minute to play exactly. Lawson blocked by Duncan. Nuggets led by 15 with just over 9 minutes to go. Spurs went on a 23-14 run, but the Nuggets hang on and win it 112-106. And the starting lineup tonight, Green, Duncan, Splitter again, along with Gary Neal and Tony Parker. Kawhi Leonard is back and will come off the bench tonight. Vasquez with a missed rebound to Duncan. Timmy lays it off to Parker again. Thiago running the floor well. Back to Duncan in the paint. And
We've seen more than our share of those already this year. If you look at Austin's game, he's got a world of ability. He can handle the basketball. He's quick. He's explosive. He can shoot it. He's still got to work on that jumper a little bit. But for the most part, he's got a tremendous upside.
Duncan to Splitter and good. What a pass. What teamwork. Rivers slides it to Davis. He goes into the teeth of that defense, knocked away. Duncan again comes out on the dribble, this time to Danny Green. Taking it to the rack and scores! Taking out some of that frustration of watching his Tar Heels get pasted by Texas last night.
Is that what happened?
Oh, my. The points in the paint. The first couple coming for Vasquez on that last one. Now, Thiago to Timmy. They work it the other way.
Too much ball movement, too much body movement right now for the New Orleans Hornets.
Tim with the ball fake and
right now, they're just dominating on the inside. Tim Duncan and Thiago Splitter are throwing some terrific passes. This is a great one from Tony Parker. There's the ball fake. Gets Anthony Davis out of position for the and one foul.
On the drive, down to McGuire. Blocked by Tim Duncan. Manu just came in to Tony. On the drive, and Parker with an easy two.
Timmy doing a great job anchoring that paint area. It was a great move there by McGuire. Just couldn't finish over the wall. It's Tim Duncan, and the Spurs are off and running.
Duncan with 6 on the clock. Got it.
I think the presence of Anthony Davis there in that situation makes Timmy put a little bit more air underneath the ball. Nice looking shot.
Jack gives it back to Duncan. In against Davis. Oh, mama, how about that? Timmy doing a little instructing.
He's bringing out his chalkboard.
Green from DeColo. Looking for Tim. Knocked away. Regained. Green from the free throw line. Good presence by Duncan. He had 3 around him and got rid of the basketball.
One thing they can correct, take care of the rebounds. Didn't like the 5 offensive rebounds given to New Orleans. He said we also have to stay connected to Ryan Anderson, who hit 2 threes en route to 10 points in the first half. Guys?
All right, thanks, Andrew. Well, Timmy hits that jumper. The Spurs fast break points 18-3 over the Hornets.
Yeah, how about that?
Lopez with the miss. Duncan with the rebound here. Timmy 7 now, along with 11 points. The Spurs leading scorer.
Our guys keep cleaning up the defensive glass. They're going to be able to run all night.
Great bank by Duncan and the dunk.
Monty Williams didn't like that at all.
Chicago is a few minutes away from putting away a win at Madison Square Garden tonight. The Bulls continue to be above 500 without Derrick Rose.
I put a thumping on him, as a matter of fact.
Tony Parker knocks down the jumper, and the Spurs back to a 16-point lead here. Underneath, Kawhi Leonard muscles up and in.
That's the old Kawhi right there. Automatic in the paint.
But the Spurs get back on the winning track and get their 20th win of the season. Spurs starting lineup, Kawhi Leonard back for his 3rd game after missing 18. And of course, Tim Duncan, Thiago Splitter, Tony Parker, and Danny Green.
You just know when these two teams get together, it's going to be an exciting game. If it's low scoring or high scoring.
And Timmy knocks down the first jumper of the game, and the Spurs take the 2-0 lead as fans settle back into their seats. Oh, what a move by Tim Duncan. No tiring there as Timmy wheels around Ashik and scores. Duncan with the block, and that'll put him past Tree Rollins.
Danny Green wide open again.
Parker in the paint. Back out it comes. Duncan with a cherry on top after that block at the other end. As Tim Duncan is number 8 all time. Block shot category.
It's
26-14.
It's got to be a priority right now. If you find Danny Green open on the perimeter, he's got to get it.
James Harden on him now, and I imagine he's not going to be helping when anybody else has to.
No, there's no way that. There he is again.
To Duncan. Timmy. Nothing but the bottom.
That's a great decision there from Danny. Instead of throwing up a heat check, passes it off to Timmy Duncan for an easy one.
Aldridge in the game to guard Tim Duncan. Mismatch. Duncan with the bank, and it's 53-46. Tony. Back to Duncan. Steps, dribbles, knocks it down.
All right, you can see Chandler Parsons is the rotation man. He's the guy who's supposed to come across and contest Timmy's shot, but he's so concerned about Danny Green, he won't leave him. That leaves Timmy wide open.
Parker in the paint, spins it up. Aldridge taken away by Jack. To Timmy!
Oh, he adds insult to injury right there. Cole Aldridge gets pickpocketed by Steven Jackson, then Jack with a terrific pass, and then Timmy has a chance to posterize him.
There's a 7-14 long distance. Harden had it blocked out of bounds.
You're not getting a lot of production, surprisingly, from the bench of this game.
Duncan having trouble with the handle here. Back to Tony. 9 on the shot clock. Tim over Ashik. Got it. So I'll just quit messing around with it. Down to Duncan. Ashik with it. Pawing away. They love to get another foul on him. 3 seconds to go. Timmy. Got it!
Ashik's big, but he's not athletic enough to get to that turnaround. And Timmy with terrific patience.
Morris. Too hard. Nice flying Kawhi Leonard comes up with the rebound.
James Harden is so good at that. As soon as he sees the step man take a step toward him, he's able to make that pass, and that's why you see so many Rockets getting wide open on the perimeter.
Duncan wheels in. Up and under. Got it for Tim Duncan. Fabulous night for Timmy. 24 points, 4 rebounds. So the Spurs in danger of giving up the lead again. They had a couple of lead changes there at the end of the first half. The Spurs had a little spurt to lead it by 4. The Rockets right on their heels again.
That's when they don't get shots. It's when they turn the ball over.
Tim. Got him. Difficult circumstances. He thought it should have been an and one. Spurs go up 3, 90-87. Duncan with Aldridge on him. Tim got that shooter's touch. Duncan, an incredible 28 points, 12 of 16 from the floor. Yeah, Harden 33, Lynn 21. Here's Parker 31, Ginobili 23. Timmy, hello 30. Duncan, his second 30-point game of the season. He had none the previous 2 years, and his second this year. 122, 116. Spurs 23-8. Rockets have the 5-game winning streak brought to a halt.
And Pop's Lexus starting lineup tonight. No real surprises coming here. Tony Parker in his 12th year from France. Danny Green in his 4th year from North Carolina. Up front, Kawhi Leonard in his 2nd year from San Diego State. Tim Duncan in his 16th season from Wake Forest. Thiago Splitter in the middle of center in his 3rd year from Brazil. The last 4 games San Antonio has played have all been at home. They've won all 4 of them, including beating Houston by 6 on Friday night. Tim Duncan scores for the Spurs to give him a 4-0 lead. Here's Carter, fakes the pass, drives, leaves for Marion. It opens up at the last second, but Duncan recovers to block it. Collins, elbow jumper, long rebound to Parker. Dallas, again, lost to Denver on Friday to fall to 12-18 through the first 30 games of the year. Last year, these 2 teams split the 4 games. Home team held serve each time. But the starters' scoring differential for Dallas so far this year is 29th in the league. The starters are getting outscored by a -12 per game. And off to a 10-point deficit tonight. And Vince Carter just had a shot blocked by Tim Duncan for the 2nd swat for Duncan. Tim Duncan's back in. The lead for Ginobili. A shot fake by Ginobili. Went into the lane. Duncan got it up quickly and bounced it home. Pretty good place for San Antonio to go out of the timeout. Green around a Duncan pick. Pass inside, catch by Duncan, missed it. Duncan will get the ball back. Will he go back up with it? Yes, he will, and scores.
That's just perseverance there, man.
Spurs have led the whole game by as many as 14 points. 5 to shoot. Duncan hits it over Dirk.
So patient, so smart.
Dirk posting up against Kawhi Leonard. Across the lane with a hook shot. Rebound for Leonard. Green quickly into the lane. Duncan scores. Parker, baseline. Duncan with Brand closing out, still hitting. 7 of 10 for Tim Duncan tonight. Drive by Darren Collison all the way to the hoop. Blocked by Duncan with 4.8 left on the shot clock and 14.3 left in the half.
Well, you know, I'm an advanced stats guy, and you really have to look at some unique things, I think, in the modern NBA.
DL with a shot for San Antonio, and San Antonio's lead increased back to 8 points. San Antonio into the game on a 20-6 run, and they end up winning by 25 points tonight here at American Airlines Center. The final score of the Spurs 111, Dallas 86.
And the lineup tonight presented by Megabucks. Tony Parker, Danny Green, Tiago Splitter, Tim Duncan, and Kawhi Leonard. This starting lineup has outscored opponents by about 50 points in the last couple of games.
And look at Tim Duncan standing next to Larry. Jimmy's taller, he's bigger. People forget over the years, because he can play that 4 position, how big he is, and he can face up like this or go inside. He's a great finisher, has a lot of shots going left, right. We just saw one.
Tim Duncan lost about 20 pounds in the offseason, trying to get in better shape for one last run, perhaps. And this team is 25-8. Most victories in the league, tied with the Clippers.
And with all that weight loss, he's still a very powerful type player. Big, can move. It's incredible what he's doing at this point in his career.
He saw the mismatch with Ellis, didn't even think about it, and has 4 points.
And you can see he'll go outside. If the bigs for Milwaukee go inside to give help, he'll go outside and score it.
Well, when you think about San Antonio, it's very difficult to slow down and certainly to stop any one of the big 3, Parker, Duncan, or Ginobili. Can you get away with slowing down some of the others? Duncan has 6.
Splitter has good length also. One more big on the glass.
He's a good rebounder, but Tim Duncan came into this game with 148 more rebounds than Splitter, the number 2 rebounder for the Spurs. And Kawhi Leonard gets a great pass from Duncan for the easy score. Cross-court pass, Parker from the elbow.
They get shots. They get open shots so easily.
Well, even with that miss, John, they're at 50%.
They're just efficient. Just very efficient. They execute.
Duncan, here's the whistle. Possible 3-point play. Bahamute picking up the foul. Dunleavy. Long pass for Jackson. He will hear it every time he scores tonight, I'm sure.
Well, that isn't what he did. It's what the pass did. That was a great pass.
Ursan Ilyasova has checked in for the Bucks. Stephen Jackson finds Duncan, 12 points.
Doesn't that look easy?
For Tim Duncan. Effortless.
It's almost too easy.
Did you see what the Spurs did on 3-pointers against Dallas? 20 out of 30. That's the highest percentage in NBA history for a team that made 20 or more.
And Jim, what I didn't see is how many guys made those 20, because they share it. They move it around. They have players on the bench that can shoot it. They have starters that can shoot it. There's a turnover.
Duncan has his block.
Yes, he does. I'm telling you, you don't realize how big he is until you see some of the guys that are 6'10" stand up next to him.
Bonner, a 3-point shooter, banks it. My goodness.
That shows you what the Bucks are up against.
Yep, that's how well it's going for San Antonio.
Exactly.
Ginobili, Duncan, and now Bonner.
That's what he does. Ball swings wide open. This is precision.
Well, when you factor in the 5 of 6 behind the 3-point line, their effective field goal percentage is above 63. Quite a bit, actually.
Wide open.
Again,
Boy,
too easy, bad. 16 for Duncan.
Well, I think that what's happening is that San Antonio is that good and playing that well, and it's exposing everything that the Bucks aren't doing well, combination of trying to shut them down. But right now, you got to do a job on your man. Look at this. Follow-up dunk, nothing. Nobody else there.
Daniels.
Redo.
Jump ball.
And again, there you see his size that I talked about earlier in the game. When you go inside, you run into Duncan. It's like running into the side of this building.
Parker working. Duncan. Little swing into rhythm. 22. 12 for Jennings. He has a ways to go, John, but he might have a big game. He averages nearly 24 points as Kawhi Leonard answers. Jennings 24.7 assists with 2 days of rest, which he has had since Sunday. They still have the second best road record in the league behind the Clippers. Los Angeles 10-4, San Antonio 12-6. Duncan with 24 points, his first 2 in the second half. 26 for Tim Duncan. Woo! Splitter. Duncan is unflappable. Ellis. Oh, Duncan. Get out of here. Dunleavy backpedaling. Parker right straight at him.
I'm telling you, he has great finishes in the paint.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Now it's at 10. Duncan tries to pick Dunleavy off Ginobili. He rolls and scores.
High screen again. Good body control. Skiles once a time.
28 points for Tim Duncan with 12 rebounds and 6 assists. Tim Duncan ends up with his 13th rebound to end the game. 28 points for Duncan, 23 with 11 assists for Parker.
Welcome back, folks. Spurs ready to go here as the 26-9 Silver and Black take on the 76ers. Philly at 15-19. Spurs starting lineup, as it has been much of this season here. Now that Kawhi Leonard is back along the splitter, Duncan, Green, and Parker. Timmy. And got it off the window.
Yeah, he caught it so low in the low block. And he was just taking his time. Looks like he nonchalantly turns around and shoots that ball off the glass. It's making it look easy.
Turner on the drive. Duncan with the rebound. Looks for the outlet. Nothing there. Brings it up himself. Danny Green. I don't get it. I don't get it. They don't watch videotape. They don't scout. This guy is open. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league every game in the first minute, Sean.
He makes 2 or 3.
13-8 as Jason Richardson, who averages nearly 11 a game, scores. Timmy counters with a bucket. As Duncan throwing the floater into his game, he's got 4, 11 more to pass Adrian Dantley on the all-time NBA scoring list. Holiday knocked away underneath. Young can't finish. Timmy and Boris battle for it. Diaw gives to Danny Green. Green to Timmy with the flush.
Nice ball movement there, or ball handling from Danny Green. Able to cross it over in the paint area, still keep control of the basketball and delivers a bounce pass on the money to Timmy.
Kawhi feeds Timmy. Duncan. Beautiful down on the baseline, and Tim Duncan. Double bigs with 10. Turner weaves his way all the way down the floor. Kawhi nearly got it. Timmy did. And the Spurs recovers. Duncan with the block and the steal, if you will. All right, thanks, Andrew.
See, I always admire the women for doing that. You know, going overseas and playing, because obviously you're not as well compensated as the NBA players are, so a lot of them have to go overseas to really make the real money. You tell a guy to get to a spot and you sit there during the game and he's not there, and you wonder what is going on in his mind. He's thinking about all the people in the stands, who he's got to impress. The women are not like that at all. They're trying to get the job done.
The guy says, why?
Sorry, fellas.
Why should I go over there?
I'm just relaying the message. Don't kill the messenger.
Tim Duncan knocks down the jumper, and Tim Duncan with 14 now, and Duncan has tied Adrian Dantley for number 24 on the all-time NBA scoring list. Parker to Timmy. Duncan leading the Spurs with 14, one of 3 in double figures. Green 11, Ginobili 10, Tony with 9, changed up 11.
As soon as Tony's man dropped just a hair to help out on Tim Duncan, Timmy unselfishly delivers that pass, and again, Tony's been knocking down that mid-range shot. His defender was able to stay with him. Tony Parker just demonstrative about going to the basket.
Mama! Duncan with the monster block, and he's thinking jump ball. Ed Malloy says no.
Take a look at it. Looks pretty good to me. What they call it? Sixers ball?
Yeah, no foul.
Timmy's out of bounds. Another below the rim block.
Nick Young. To Hawes, back to Young. Comes off the screen. Manu with a rebound. To Duncan. Timmy passes Adrian Dantley. As Duncan, his 16th point tonight. And Tim Duncan, number 24 all time on the NBA scoring chart. As the Sixers will dribble it out. And the Spurs get their 27th win of the season. Get back on the winning track. Our USA Series history, it's an interesting one. The Spurs lead at all time 69-25, 39-8 at home. And look at that line. 15-game home win streak against the Wolves.
You know, the lack of ball movement over the last couple of weeks has been a little disturbing because it looks like, you know, to me, like they've lost a little trust on the offensive end of the floor. And that's what you don't want creeping into your ball club right now.
They're saying that ball off of the Spurs, and timeout is called to the disbelief of Timmy. Duncan the block, a brilliant pass, Parker the layup. Wow. That's more what the Spurs fans are saying we expect.
That was a scary, scary pass right there. Lucky not to have another turnover, so I like the result.
Ed to the hole, finds Pekovic, blocked by Splitter and Duncan. Tim got another piece in a shot clock violation. Andre Kirilenko wheels back in, throws it up, won't go. Cunningham, blocked by Duncan. Timmy finally claims it, out to Jack. Here's Steven, Parker in the paint, count it!
Well, that's more like it. At least they're sharing the ball in the open court.
Timmy got it away from Rubio. Here comes Mills to Leonard and Kawhi up and in. Correa, the pick and roll with Steamsman. In against Timmy, he finds Hayward. Just offered it up. And a jump ball is called between Duncan and Hayward. Correa in the paint. Lost control of it. Kawhi with a steal. Neal. Nice pass to Tim Duncan. Just had to come off the rim.
That's right.
Rebound and outlet. Boy. Patty Mills. Perfect. Touchdown. Tim Duncan to Patty Mills.
There goes that UFO again.
It got there and it was on target.
It's an unidentified flying object. It's spinning left and right. Patty Mills with the quick feet to get underneath that one.
Well, while you're plugging schools, we better plug North Carolina. Our producer all upset that I didn't call him after they beat Florida State last night. I didn't know a conference win was an upset.
But you didn't call him after Miami of Florida beat him the other day.
So congrats to Daniel Ashcraft. And Tim Duncan, a former ACC star, knocks down that jumper. Manu's coming up hobbled, in fact, unable to cross half court. Green to Duncan, and Timmy with the jumper. Got it. There's a confidence builder as Duncan knocks down the perimeter jumper here. Timmy with 7 points, 9 rebounds. Here's Danny Green. Tony again in the paint, spots Duncan, easy two, and one, thank you.
See, there you go. You're moving bodies, and you're moving the defense. Pop wants all his defenders to stay at home, especially when you're in the corner, not to help out and allow that European penetrating pitch.
Gary Neal knocks down the three, and the Spurs coming alive from the outside now. Amundsen misses, rebound to Juan, and that'll do it. With 17 seconds to go, the Spurs will bring it across the timeline and get their 29th win in their 40th game and go 16-2 at home, best in the NBA. 12 straight here at the AT&T Center on the plus side as the Timberwolves drop to 16-18. And Pop and the Spurs try to get their 30th win of the season, their 17th home win, the best home record in the NBA, and their 13th straight here at home. Hopefully it's lucky 13 tonight. Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Thiago Splitter, Danny Green, and Tony Parker. Jumper's good. Tim Duncan knocks it down. Timmy, the other night, what an effort on the backboards. He had 7 blocks, a season high for Duncan, along with 12 points and 9 rebounds.
You know, talking to a lot of my spies, Bill, they really believe that Mike Conley is the key to this ball club, really the heart and soul. They figure if they lost him, Memphis would be in dire straits.
Tim Duncan knocks down the difficult bank shot. Spurs tie it up at 4.
Danny Green was trying to get sneaky and come across and double team Zach Randolph, so it looks like we're going to double their bigs in the low block.
Kawhi Leonard, nice move on the baseline after the pass down low. Looked like he was corralled. Timmy against Zach Randolph, gives to Kawhi. Kawhi playing with a lot of confidence right now.
I like that action right there. And even then, he could have turned the corner, probably taken that ball all the way to the basket.
Clippers doing just fine without Chris Paul. Beat Houston the other night. I mean, just shows you the depth of that team and the confidence they're playing with.
Well, Eric Bledsoe is a pretty good option as your backup point guard.
Green spots Leonard to Duncan. Timmy. Got it! As Duncan. Watch out. Nearly intercepted. Conley there. Mills got it back. 5 on the clock. Timmy. Got it. And one. Oh, mama. And Gasol not happy at all about it. Pouting behind the backboard now.
Well, there's nothing he can do. He was clearly in the restricted area.
6 on the shot clock. Tony to Green. Timmy fires. Yes!
So he's using his legs. He caught the ball in the crouch position. Knees are already bent.
Duncan gives to Green. 2:14 remaining in the half. Danny with 5 on the night.
Well, Timmy turns around and realizes he's got a wide open shot.
Got another one. Can't do that to the big fella as he knocks it down and gets a technical foul as he thought he was fouled. As Tim Duncan makes it 53-47 and is hit for the tee, barking at the official as he headed back down.
But it also goes back to what I said at the beginning of the telecast. Don't look at the officials for anything tonight. You got fouled. You're going to get fouled in this ball game. You leave those guys alone, and eventually you're going to get a call. You hope.
Ellington blocked by Duncan, out of bounds.
There's a below the rim block again from Timmy Duncan.
Conley probing away, trying to get it back to him and with 10 on the shot clock, all the way over to Allen. His shot in the paint won't go, and Thiago Splitter pulls it off.
That's okay. Tony Allen's taking the last 2 shots, so you want to make him the guy that beats you.
Duncan from Parker right down the boulevard.
Great focus from Timmy there, not to lose the ball in traffic, number 1. And then the wherewithal to use the glass there instead of trying to get too fancy with it.
Tony Allen with the bucket has got 8. He's only had 8 double-figure games all year and 3 in a row, though. Danny Green knocks down the 3. Timeout Memphis.
Tony Allen gets caught cheating that time, though.
Gasol gives right back to Bayless. He spins in the paint. Duncan with the block and the takeaway to Parker. Spurs push it again. Neal on his flank. Diaw rotates it. Kawhi Leonard. Kaboom! As Kawhi knocks down the 3, and the Spurs lead it by double digits. Timmy to Tony, and win for Parker.
And you get it right back.
This is the 9th time this season the Spurs have had 30 or more assists. The block on Randolph, and he is hobbling. Parker to Jackson, to Duncan for 2. Randolph needs to come out as the Spurs have mounted their largest lead of the night. Rote will bring it back. Circles it back out. Rookie from Washington, averages a point a game, 6'6", 208. Tim Duncan says, hello, welcome to the NBA.
That's going to hurt your average. Well, everybody's kind of hit, their little funky part of the season. And, we talked about our guys over the last couple of weeks. Tim able to sneak in there and throw one down. And our guys haven't been playing well in the last couple of weeks, but tonight, a great turnaround.
Duncan another takeaway. He and Bonner inside against Spates. Patty Mills with it. 103-82 San Antonio as the Spurs tonight. What a fabulous effort. 33 assists on 44 field goals spells team.
That is astounding.
Our USA Series history, the Spurs lead at 95-50. Yes, a 27-game home win streak versus the Warriors. They've not won in this building. Spurs, who average 104.8 per game, 3rd in the league, trying to get on the board right now. Tim Duncan knocks it down.
It's about time.
Duncan against Ezeli. Timmy the fadeaway, and he's got the Spurs' first 4. And despite a cold start, they take the lead. Timmy, 10 on the shot clock. The hook over Ezeli, and Tim Duncan. Strong start again tonight for Duncan as he's got 6 of the Spurs' 10. Thompson trying to shake Green to the hole, knocked away by Duncan. Duncan with it here with 5:07 to go. First period. Timmy on Beatrice says, welcome to the game as Duncan. 8 of the Spurs, 12 now. Timmy 4 of 7.
Solid start from Tim Duncan.
Thompson. Lee blocked by Duncan. Beatrice comes up with it back to Klay Thompson. First, Lee started off his career with the New York Knicks. And Timmy inside 5 minutes. Got it again as he hammers home against Carl Landry, and Duncan with a dozen. 5 boards and 3 blocks already for Tim. He's 3rd in the NBA in blocks right now. Parker to Jack, and he'll go against Jarrett Jack.
Give him room to operate.
They come with a double. Spurs looking for the open man. It's Danny Green for 3. Oh, yeah! Green is a streak shooter. Watch out.
That's a smart play there from Jack.
Here's a different looking lineup for the Spurs to start the 4th quarter. But I like that look. Tim Duncan with the ball and shooting it. Timmy. 18 now. Nicola. Back to Boris. To Timmy. No stopping that one.
Great recognition there from Boris DL, recognizing that Tim Duncan is being fronted in the low block.
Timmy. Great touch from the big fella saying, finally got one to go. Duncan gives to Green, now to Tony Parker. Tony nearly slipped, comes back, shovels it to Duncan, and it's good!
He wanted an and one there, making contact with David Lee, but I like the ball movement.
The Spurs are going to win their 14th straight at the AT&T Center this season. They're going to win their 28th straight at home in San Antonio against the Golden State Warriors.
On this Inauguration Monday, and on a day we celebrate the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, we welcome you to Philadelphia and a very special edition of the NBA on TNT. Tonight, the San Antonio Spurs, with the 3rd best record in the NBA, take on the Philadelphia 76ers.
You know, the thing you're going to see with the 76ers is they don't get a lot of easy baskets because they don't have a low post presence. And they're inconsistent because they're a jump shooting team.
Well, they're a jump shooting team with really no jump shooters. Nice pass there by Tim Duncan on the give and go. High cut there by Tony Parker.
And Tony Parker is 7th in Western Conference point guard voting.
Well, if you're Charles Barkley, neither Tim Duncan with another excellent pass there for Tim Duncan. If you're Charles, you don't have Tim Duncan or Tony Parker on reserve. What is up with that?
Well, I just rewarded some of the young guys. Look, and I look at Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett. They are great, all-time great. But honestly, LeBron James is actually the only player who came right out of the NBA and was ready to play in the NBA. He's a once-in-a-lifetime guy.
That's Tony Parker finding another shot for Tim Duncan, who now starts 2 of 2. Parker is number 8 in the NBA in assists. Reggie, you went back to Indiana last week, and you got the same kind of reception. Charles, tonight must be fun for you guys to know that the crowds you played in front of for so many years still appreciate what you did.
And they're asking a lot out of Drew Holiday tonight. Try to guard Tony Parker on one end and score on the other end.
That's a good point. They lean on him so much on the offensive side.
That's why it's going to be a struggle for him tonight, because nobody's going to guard Tony Parker. Nobody's going to guard Drew Holiday.
Well, how many guards do you want to make it from the Western Conference?
Okay, well, just name some guys.
James Harden?
Yes.
Okay, Tony Parker?
I gave that nod to Steph Curry.
Russell Westbrook?
Yes.
Wait, you over Tony Parker?
Yes.
So,
and actually, you know, Jamal Crawford is in that conversation
Jamal
also.
Crawford. You mentioned Jason Richardson. He started 33 games, left knee issue, fluid drained on Thursday, played Friday, not playing tonight. Just turned 32, Reg. They need some of his veteran leadership on the young team as Duncan across the lane continues to chip away at the Sixer D. Pause again, trying a 3.
You know, I know he made that first 3, but I really don't want my center shooting 3s, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe he can make them, maybe he can't. I don't know what the three-point percentage is.
Oh, Leonard!
That was beautiful.
You're closing in on 50. You feel 50?
I actually feel older, kid, to be honest with you.
What?
I do, man.
Parker, long two that won't go. An offensive rebound by Tim Duncan, his 10th. He's got a double-double with 16 points and 10 rebounds.
And what Charles is alluding to, because when you double Tim Duncan, you're putting your defense at a disadvantage because then you start to scramble at the defensive end.
And you give up offensive rebounds.
Leonard setting a screen right there and Duncan knocking it down.
Now this is what the Sixers should not double and give up a wide open three.
Charles and Duncan.
That's okay. If he make that, you live with it. But you don't double him because you'll get Bonner going, Leonard, they'll be shooting those wide open threes. He just made a heck of a shot.
Parker 7 of 13. Green 2 of 7. Duncan 8 of 15. Shot clock at 3. Duncan. Big shot.
And they got into rotation there because Royal Ivy stunned it and came down like he was going to help.
You know, I told Kobe Bryant he got to look at the big picture, how much money he going to save on playoff tickets this year.
I would love to have seen the ball in the hands of Drew Holiday. Remember the conversation Doug had with him about superstars? Yeah. That's when superstars got to step up.
Tim Duncan's a superstar.
Like
Tim
that.
Duncan, 24 and 16.
You know it's going to be Tony Parker or Tim Duncan in positions like this. This is when Drew Holiday, he has to step up and be the man.
Duncan with 17 rebounds. Tony Parker, money.
The Sixers need a timeout.
Parker comes up with a big shot, 17 for Parker. Splitter saves it, and San Antonio has come up with a win. They've won 5 consecutive games.
Tonight, all lines, the procession, the litany of people leading to Oracle Arena as the NBA's best team rolls into the East Bay. San Antonio Spurs taking on the Golden State Warriors. The second meeting of the season between these two teams. Murray with the stare down 3. How important for Golden State to get an early lead in this game, seeing as how San Antonio, Chris, is coming off the second night here of a back-to-back as Duncan knocks it down.
Well, most nights, Mark, on back-to-back, you'd think you'd like to run San Antonio up and down the court, but they got good rest last night after blowing out the Clippers. I don't think that's going to be as big a factor.
Popovich talked about having to run them off the three-point line. That time, the Spurs get it done at the offensive end with Parker. Mills with great hustle comes up with the steal. Gary Neal, nice feed inside for Duncan. And Tim Duncan looking for the foul from Scott Foster with a prolonged and pronounced look. Parker back to Duncan. They call him the big fundamental, folks.
And that was right out of the textbook. Great footwork, ball fake.
After that tip, Lee now with his 35th double-double of the season. Duncan left alone outside and knocked that one down.
And early in the shot clock, better rhythm. Danny Green, 1-2 dribbles to the paint, right back to Tim Duncan in rhythm.
5 on the shot clock for Duncan. Has to put it up and knocks it down. Tim Duncan made the Western Conference All-Star team. Ezeli blocked by Duncan. Here come the Spurs. A 13-0 Warrior run. Knotted at 80. Duncan quiets the crowd. Curry working against Green. Lee's got a mismatch with Parker on him. Tough pass, wide open Jack for the lead. Got it! Ginobili to Duncan. Ginobili on the cut. Oh, he made it look like a layup line. Wow, tied at 93. No timeouts left for the Warriors. Jack, it'll count. And we're going to play 5 more minutes. Good show and go by Harrison Barnes. Blocked by Duncan. Gathered by Parker. Green. They go for the 3 out of the timeout. Great call. 1-point game in a blink. Thompson against Ginobili on the drive. Blocked by Duncan. And the Spurs with a chance to take the lead. Golden State going to improve to 32-23 on the season. And a well-earned win tonight against the best team in the NBA.
Leonard, Duncan, Splitter, Danny Green, and Tony Parker, the starting five tonight as the Spurs come in at 45 and 13. Dragic with 6 on the shot clock, finds Dudley coming off the screen, drops it to Gortat, a little bit out of his range, rebounded Danny Green, kicks off to Parker. Tony finds Timmy, wide open for an easy two, Spurs lead.
Timmy just snuck behind Gortat right there.
Duncan inside. Manages to hold off Scola. Nice feed from Tiago Splitter, and the Spurs back on top 14-12. Timmy's got a half dozen. Tony. Tim can't go back to him. Now he does. 10 on the clock. Back to Duncan. Pick and roll one way or the other.
It's too much. They just put Dragic and Gortat right there in the blender. I tell you what, Jared Dudley, even though this team hasn't played well, he's had a pretty solid effort all year long. Just one of those guys who's not the most athletic, he's not going to wow you, but he's a solid fundamental player.
Averages 11 a game. Last year, a career high 12 plus. Duncan knocks down the two, and Timmy gives the Spurs the 9-point margin, 59-50. Duncan now with 15, 22-2, home record on the line. Duncan knocks down the two.
Good no hesitation jumper there. Great ball movement, Danny.
Johnson bawling away at Parker, trying to use his length. 6 on the clock for Tony. In trouble to Duncan. Gotta shoot it. And he hits it. Oh, mama! Jam that finger again, Timmy.
I'm telling you.
Never got the bottom of it. Oh, Dragic was nearly out of bounds. Got by Tony. 7 seconds over Timmy. Yep. 4 seconds to go.
Inbounded quickly.
Manu
they got a foul.
Is foul. Now you got an opportunity. Johnson is open for 3. Overtime tonight. Gortat blocked by Timmy. Out of bounds. Off of Gortat.
If you're the Suns right now, you don't foul.
That's it. And the steal by Morris. And the Phoenix Suns have stunned this crowd and ruined the Spurs' homecoming, if you will. Well, there's the newcomer, if you will. Corey Joseph taking the place of Tony Parker in the starting lineup, getting his first start of the season. Corey, 6'3", 185, the Canadian, second year out of the University of Texas. Tiago, so efficient inside. Duncan with the block. He's third in the league in that category.
That's a carry.
Yep. Wow, whistle for the turnover. Yeah, the Spurs, imagine, winning by 28, and they led by as many as, what was it, I think 38 or 36, but they had 20 turnovers in that game, and the Kings scored 26 points off them. Duncan is second block and now leading the break. Gary Neal also not expected to play here tonight. Steven Jackson is available. Duncan at second rebound of the night, and he now officially passes Buck Williams. Next up on the list, Shaquille O'Neal. Hey, Tiago for Timmy. Duncan both ends, serving it up there for Splitter.
Now, my most memorable memory, I should say, of that game or from that game was our pregame speech. Where you see Timmy Duncan throwing that ball down.
Remember, this game was tied at 12. And the Spurs scored 12 straight, and now they continue as Mills from Duncan. And it's 26-15. Duncan to Jack here. Stuckey on him. 1:19 to go in the first quarter. Spurs by 7. DeJuan Blair feeling it off the window. Timmy, the putback is good.
I tell you what, DeJuan's gotten a lot better at that shot. That one just rolls out on him barely, but there's Tim Duncan to clean up the mess. No reason to take your foot off the gas here. I think our guys learned their lesson against the Phoenix Suns when you let an inferior team hang around. They showed their mettle the other night against Sacramento. Let's see if they can continue to play for 48 minutes in this one.
Duncan got the shooter's roll over Monroe.
Yeah, on the plane, a nice place to be as long as you're not next to Bill Schoening. The Pistons falling back into a little bit of a zone.
Corey Joseph, zone buster, as Corey knocks down the 3. Knight all the way across, Calderon to Singler. Got Tiago as he pulls him out, then attacks, misses. Timmy gives to Joseph. Spurs on the run again. Tiago.
Oh, boy.
Timmy! All started with Corey Joseph. Calderon, 10 on the shot clock. Kawhi, those long arms. He gets it off to Monroe. Danny touched it. Saved by Tiago. blocked by Duncan, and here comes, oh, wait a minute, Tragic.
I was about to say.
Ginobili. Into Tiago. To Duncan. Oh, the stop. That's the way you draw.
Yeah, he goes from tragic to magic.
Bynum. Nice pass to Monroe, blocked by Duncan, and Tiago on the bounce brings it out. Spurs 4 in double figures, led by Ginobili 17. Duncan another block. And Ginobili brings it back. Bynum stripped by Manu. Here comes Leonard. Watch out. Highlight reel. Timmy going up and 9-on-1. Are you kidding me? As Duncan got the bucket as he held off the defender. Ginobili, just 2 seconds difference, shot clock and game clock. We'll wait it out here. Bynum guarding him. Now Duncan comes up for the screen, or does he? No, stays in the paint. Can't finish. Yes, he can on the second attempt. The Spurs, after being beaten by the Pistons in Detroit on the rodeo road trip, more than pay them back.
Meanwhile, for the San Antonio Spurs, Corey Joseph getting his second consecutive start, the second-year player out of Texas, joined by Danny Green in the backcourt. Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, and Tiago Splitter up front for the San Antonio Spurs. Duncan inside over Noah off glass. Tough shot by Tim Duncan. Dang on the drive. Noah denied, not once but twice. Back come the Spurs. Leonard on the move. Great hesitation move. He almost came to a stop.
That was a stop. That wasn't a hesitation. I thought he lost his balance. Luol Deng, a terrific two-way player. Always gets the best player on the opposing team to guard the toughest position in the game, the 3 position. And still gets 16 a game on the other end. I don't believe he's a #1 option. It's Duncan with a beautiful touch pass to Splitter.
Corey Joseph went to high school in Henderson, Nevada at Finley Prep. 1 year at Texas now. After some good prep time in the D-League, running the show here for the Spurs. Gets it into Duncan for the layup.
Yeah, nice double back pick there on the weak side.
Nice feed inside. Boy, Noah having a tough time inside tonight. Duncan with another block.
That's 3 on Joakim Noah alone.
Here's Green out top. Duncan comes off the screen and knocks down another shot. It's not unusual to see Tim Duncan take a practice or 2 off and be at the team's training facility doing laps in the swimming pool. Nice cut by Joseph to the bucket. Duncan had his back. And here come the Spurs. Joakim Noah had that triple-double we mentioned at the top of the show. 23, 21, and 11 against Philadelphia. Not that long ago.
Another block for Duncan. That's 5.
Duncan on the drive over Noah. Wow, what a shot. He got it to fall. Corey Joseph got the start tonight in place of Parker, who's out. Duncan. And Tim Duncan shoots that frozen rope that melts at the bucket. Popovich closing in on some 900 wins, and key component of that, of course, is Popovich has major say in personnel and big-time authority. Duncan with a big-time slam. The Spurs going to take this one 101-83, blowing the game open late in the 3rd quarter.
The other side, Pop put together the game plan once again as the Spurs in Game 5 of the 6-game homestand and have won the last 3 to boost the home record to 25-4 now.
I'm saying Timmy's forehead because it's awfully hard.
All right, there's the the Blazers lineup. Duncan leading the break. Anybody going to stop it? No. All the way for Timmy.
How easy was that right there? Turns magical in the open court.
Green, the rebound off the miss. Into Timmy. Facing up against Aldridge.
He's got him right where he wants him. He's buried so deep.
Corey Joseph slices to the hoop and finds him.
Another excellent cut from Corey Joseph. That's 2 in a row that he makes, and he's able to lose Lillard.
Kawhi drops it down to Duncan. 9 on the shot. Fade away. As Duncan evens it up.
And there's Timmy throwing his body into LaMarcus Aldridge.
Manu scoots it to the corner. Kawhi misses on the 3. Aldridge watching. Timmy's got it. Going to the hole. What a finish from the big fella.
Oh, look at that old man move right there.
Duncan right in the face of LaMarcus Aldridge with the hook and a quick move from Timmy. Danny Green drops it down to Tim. And no count. Duncan gets credit for the bucket. Here is Green. Can't connect, but Duncan's there to follow. Spurs go back on top, 45-43. And Timmy now with a dozen. Matthews gives the Blazers a 5-point lead. Duncan gets it over Aldridge. Spurs first point for the second half. Timmy now with 14 to go along with his 5 rebounds. Here's Tim Duncan inside and like the look coming out of the break as the Spurs go to the big fella. Duncan 16 points now for Timmy. They'll let it go here. 136-106 as the Portland Trailblazers absolutely throttle the Spurs. Blazers 29-32, Spurs 48-15.
Take a look at the starting lineup for the Mavs. It's Crowder, Nowitzki, Kaman, Mayo, and James. San Antonio, Leonard, Duncan, Splitter, Green, and Corey Joseph in for the injured Tony Parker, missing his 6th consecutive game. Joseph in a matchup with James. Leonard did not play against Minnesota the other night. In fact, didn't make the trip because of a sore left knee. Neither did Duncan. Duncan over Kaman.
Normally he likes to use the glass from that side of the floor, banking it in. That time he played it straight up.
Carter in there now. Mayo tried an entry to right. It's taken away by Dial. Spurs are running. Early offense for Duncan. Over Brad. Tied at 35. 5.5 to go in this first half. Great vision. It's Duncan to Leonard darting towards the rim. Off the boards. Total numbers 24-11 Spurs. Duncan a clean look. 8 points for Tim Duncan. Nando De Colo, the rookie from France, is in the game. Spread it with Green, defended by Mayo. Duncan takes it outside. Joseph in for the injured Tony Parker. Inside, Duncan plants himself in the paint and gets the bucket. James makes his move. Stripped to the ball. Splitter comes away with it. And here come the Spurs. Green gets it ahead. Duncan lays it in.
Did he make that look easy? He barely came up with the low pass with his right hand, switched it to the left hand, and came up on the other side.
Leonard gives up his dribble with 8 to shoot. Screen from Splitter. Green works around him. Duncan steps into the jumper and connects. Crowder the baseline. Doesn't go. Came and knocked it over to Neal. Neal setting things up. 10 to shoot. High-low. Duncan! He was just trying to tip the ball to himself, and it goes in.
Another example of high-low basketball. That time, it had a little bit of luck to it.
Vince Carter switching hands, and he can't convert. Parker out with that sprained left ankle. He suffered it on March the 1st. Duncan running the floor. Tim Duncan with the stuff. He said it's taken a little while to build that togetherness. Wright gets inside for the bucket, and a lot of that had to do with the absence of Dirk Nowitzki, and then Dirk needed some time, even when he came back. Duncan gets it on the interior.
Sometimes you have no choice, but other nights when you have a choice, you ride somebody, you take him out early and bring somebody else in, and he's got such a great feel for that, or his anticipation is so good for knowing which guys to come out.
Duncan, that soft touch. 23 for Duncan. Knock away, James got a piece of it. Neal steps into it. Duncan inside. Counted and a foul. The big fundamental. 87-82 Spurs. They leave Duncan free and he takes advantage. Mayo, the trigger man. Here we go. 1 point lead for the Spurs. Carter with 4 seconds. With 3. Carter, a jumper on the way. No good. San Antonio holds on. And for the 16th straight year, the Spurs are going to the playoffs.
And Pop with 897 career wins, all with the San Antonio Spurs. Hoping his ball club can put back-to-back wins together after that exciting win over Dallas the other night. Leonard, Duncan, Splitter, Green, and Corey Joseph again in the place of the injured Tony Parker. Here is Kawhi with 10 on the shot clock. Back to Duncan. Timmy coming up 28-19 against the Mavs. Still got the shooting touch. Kawhi Leonard saw an opening, spins, dishes it off to Splitter. Danny Green on the penetration, back to Thiago. To Timmy, and he scores!
Just too much body movement, too much ball movement for a young ball club to handle. I like the way we jumped out of the gate.
Duncan inside, and a fallen Thompson will do nothing about that as Joseph spots Timmy. Makes it 15-10. Timmy on the drive, strong to the rack.
Yeah, exactly. Don't wait for the double team to develop. If they're not going to double you, go ahead and make your move.
Zeller steps out and hits that jumper.
I like his game. I'm telling you, a 7-footer that can run the floor, can step outside, shoot the ball a little bit, and he's a tough kid.
Going from stiff to making him an all-pro here pretty soon.
That's right.
We don't change our mind. Kawhi just missed this one as Zeller contested. Timmy follows the finger roll. Oh, Iceman Duncan. An and one.
And how about Kawhi Leonard? I believe it's his job staying in the play that forces that loose ball.
Underneath, the block cleanly this time on G. And here comes Manu.
No foul called there.
Timmy on the drive, got it.
How about Timmy taking a page out of Tiago Splitter's handbook?
Here's Tiago, looks back door to Manu, can't go there. Now to Joseph. Timmy, it's Thompson. Manu cuts through, then Splitter. Nice body control, and Tiago with a bucket.
That's how the Spurs manage just 2 for 1 here.
Duncan in the paint. Foul and run. Corey Joseph on the drive, the twisting layup.
There you go, Corey. I love the aggression and the creativity.
Duncan says no.
It's outstanding defense there by Danny Green. Just not giving up an easy bucket. And as soon as Dion Waiters shows this ball to Tim Duncan, he just blows it up.
He'll do the serving to that Waiters.
That's right.
Okay, it was weak.
Well, the finish against Dallas was like the finish against Oklahoma City. All of a sudden, you're like, who are these guys out there? Don't they know how to close the game out? Quit throwing the ball all over the place. Show some patience.
Duncan going to work inside. The lefty hook is good. Got his game going as Thompson had no answer for the big fella. 79-71, and Timmy has got 20 and 9 with a pair of assists. Duncan. 8 on the shot clock for Timmy against Thompson again. Got it off the bank. There's Duncan having a huge night. 25 minutes. He's got 22 points, 10 of 14 from the floor. Hit both free throws. Jackson gives to Manu and now to Duncan again. He clears. 2:46 to go here in the third. Timmy knocked away, got it back, and scores. Great second effort from Tim Duncan.
Give the Cavs credit. Maurice makes with some good hands there, but Timmy just stays in the play, just perseveres.
Manu from Timmy, got it.
It's a good backdoor cut there. Good use of the timeout.
G. Spates, blocked by Duncan. Recovered by Leonard. As Tim Duncan comes up with his 3rd block of the night, and it was big.
Another below-the-rim block. Excellent timing once again from Tim Duncan.
Duncan against Spates. Got it off the window for Timmy.
And at this point in the ball game, you can't expect to get a foul call.
Kick out, and now Miles for 3. Diaw slips in as Tim Duncan nearly had it.
Still too wide open for my taste.
Manu to Timmy and a dunk! Oh, yeah! Mike Budenholzer directing from the sideline and place of Coach Pop tonight. Got ejected in that first half. Timmy underneath. And Kawhi Leonard with the toes.
I was just going to say, get your spacing right.
Livingston, a great pass. Duncan, a better block. Oh, my! Timmy! Green comes up with it. And now Ginobili. Waiters to the rack. Blocked by Duncan. Get out of here. Kawhi Leonard fouled with 15 seconds to go. And he has a chance to pretty well seal it. The Spurs finally put away the Cleveland Cavaliers. Duncan with 30 and 12. Kawhi Leonard 24 and 13. And the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Tiago Splitter, Danny Green, and Corey Joseph. Joseph getting his 8th straight start in place. The Warriors are coming off back-to-back road victories of 20 or more points for the first time in franchise history. That's how impressive their win at Houston and then at New Orleans have been.
Well, that means we got it right where we want them.
That's right.
And Timmy turned it over the top of David Lee.
Bogan to Curry. Bogan and Tim Duncan with a mother of a block. Oh my! Kawhi to Green. Warriors hustle back to stop the break, but Andrew Bogut coming in the paint, and Tim Duncan says no.
He's trying to go top shelf, and it's locked. Oh, no food for you, Andrew.
Unless you like eating leather.
He was flying in there, had his hair, wind all in his hair.
Cleveland is leading LeBron James in his old home by 21 at the half, and their schedule is not very difficult, but I'm one that thinks that I'm not so sure that this streak's going to continue much longer. I just think somebody's going to finally rise up and get it.
I'm not so sure. The only team they have left that's tough before us are the Chicago Bulls. They got the Bobcats, the Cavaliers twice, the Wizards. They got all the bottom feeders lined up.
Timmy comes away with it.
He's not going to get that one up in the paint. Not with Tim Duncan lurking.
Nice pass. Dion got it. Tim stayed away from the iron.
And how about Timmy doing it all by himself that time? Comes up with the block and the rebound, taking it coast to coast, and able to drop it off magically to Boris Diaw underneath.
Duncan slapped the pass away. Nicolo brings it back.
Jared Jack was trying to throw it through his seam there and almost blew Timmy's head off. He threw that pass in.
Tim to Nando for the reverse. Great ball movement.
Absolutely. Excellent movement from Nando Nicolo there to continue to move on the play, not just to stop.
Timmy from Manu Ginobili.
That's a great steal there by Tim Duncan.
Duncan knocks it down, and Timmy gives the Spurs a 4-point lead. Duncan back to Bonner. Open three. Counted for the Red Rocket.
That's how you get it back right there. David Lee doesn't want to come that far out on the perimeter to guard Matt Bonner, and he pays the price.
7 for Ginobili. 4. Duncan to the hole. Blocked. Got it back. Scores with 2 seconds to go. Spurs need to defend. Green to Duncan. Timmy continues to lead the Spurs as Duncan now with 14. And Tim, 30 against Cleveland, 28 with 19 boards against Dallas. Stephen Curry, in his 8 previous meetings against the Spurs have controlled him better than any other team. Timmy, the off-balance shot, got it to go.
That's a tough matchup for us.
Inside, Timmy from Manu, and one. Oh, mama, what a pass from Ginobili. Jack to Curry against Duncan. Over Timmy. Manu kept it alive, kept Lee away from it as Kawhi Leonard brings it back. Nando De Colo inside, Duncan, Boris Diaw! Curry right back to Lee. Blocked by Duncan. Oh, Timmy. His 4th block of the night. Duncan 4th in the league coming in blocks. Spurs, though, they got to do something better offensively here. Lead has been cut to 4. Timmy to Green.
Oh, they've become content with just passing the ball around the horn against that zone.
And Duncan, good movement, gets it back on the hook. Ginobili going to Duncan against Bogut. Danny Green. Tim. Bacon's open. Timmy.
Not surprising they give him that wide open a look. From 12 to 15 feet, no one comes out to contest.
Timmy backing down on Bogut.
Wow.
And lays it up and in. Tim Duncan. He's got 25. That score's wrong. It's on the screen.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get that fixed quickly here because that's the same that it's on the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, you don't want the players to be confused. They're not out there keeping score.
Bonner knocks down a 3 and said, don't screw that up. Well, the Spurs take care of business tonight. They hold the Warriors to 44% shooting, and made Stephen Curry earn his 24 on 8 of 20 shooting tonight. And a great team effort led by Tim Duncan with 25, 13 boards, 6 assists as the Spurs win 104-93.
And for the hometown San Antonio Spurs, the big news, number 9 is back. Tony Parker at the point. Danny Green, the shooting guard, with Splitter, Duncan, and Kawhi Leonard up front. Foy drives and hangs. Instead of popping from outside, Foy goes inside. And Booner, we've talked so many times, you can get a bucket inside, it really helps the confidence. And the Spurs answer with an inside game of their own.
You must defend this basketball team. They're so good in so many different categories. They lead the team in assists. as Tim Duncan gets an assist with Thiago Splitter there.
And Ron, as you know, one of the biggest concerns for Ty Corbin and Jazz fans, don't settle for outside jumpers early in the shot clock. The Jazz have kind of gotten into a habit of that. There's a cutter for two. The bucket by Danny Green. Duncan faces up Big Al, rolls it in left hand. Catches the rim, he'll shoot one. Jazz working inside, a give and go. Duncan got a piece of Marvin Williams. He hits the floor, no call. Green over the top. Boy, Duncan barely caught it. He'll put the shoulder down, rolls it. Oh, long drive bucket. That was on a shoestring or a tightrope. Splitter, Duncan on the dish. Tim Duncan with 15. We'll have the answer for you a little bit later. Nice feed. DeColo.
That's another $50 to the Huntsman Cancer Research Foundation from the financial experts at Mountain America Credit Union. For your home, for your business, for your life. And Randy Foy has his back to Tim Duncan, and he bullets a pass right by his ear.
Jazz on a 6-0 run, and the Spurs have not scored since the 10:04 mark. There's Duncan with a swing for two. Look at it to Mo. On a dribble drive, Splitter, Foy, Marvin takes the three. Yes! And the hard overtime in San Antonio. The Jazz fight hard, but they will come up just a bit short tonight. 104-97 in overtime.
The San Antonio Spurs with the best record in the Western Conference. Tony Parker, Danny Green, Thiago Splitter, Kawhi Leonard, and Tim Duncan. Jeremy Lin gets it inside. Demo, bounce pass to Asik, puts it up, missed it, tips it up in the air. Over the last 4 games, Tim Duncan has been blocking shots at a record pace as he hits the outside jumper, and San Antonio off to a quick start. Splitter. And of course, it's hard to shut San Antonio down. This is a team relied on defense, and there's Timmy with that bank shot that he's been doing for 16 years.
He's like a surgeon. He just dissects you offensively.
Danny Green has really made himself a nice home in San Antonio. Youngster out of North Carolina. Came off the bench. Now he's in the starting lineup. Duncan lays it up and in. Count it. And the foul is called on Demo. That's his second.
Well, Demo got called for a foul for being a rookie.
Duncan to Parker, coming off that pick. Parker now has led the Spurs, or shared the team lead in both points and assists. 32 games this season.
Steady dose of Duncan on the mid-low post.
Duncan off the glass for 2 more.
And he's producing. James' tactic here in the second half. He's attacking the rim. He's not going to settle for the outside jump.
Rockets lead by 1 now. Good job by Asik. Didn't take the fake. Duncan made it anyway.
Jim is he's like a surgeon down there. If you don't double him, he's going to make you pay.
Good pickup by Demo on Parker, but that left somebody open, and there it is.
The interior passing by the Spurs is very, very good.
Parsons to the basket. Kind of went up there half-heartedly, and he's still down. Parker gets it back out to Danny Green for a 3.
Danny Green in transition. You got to find him.
Harden back to Omer. Omer has to get it first, and then Duncan blocks it.
Blocked it from behind.
Yeah, took him a little long to grab it. Omer now with 4 fouls. Gotta be sure he doesn't pick up number 5 against Duncan right now. They're going to try to go right to him. And Duncan swings inside, and nobody picked up Diaw. Harden wasn't anywhere close.
Well, Diaw pushed him off of him. Diaw's a big body.
Fellas, Miami Heat won again tonight, 26 in a row. I think they're going to catch the Lakers.
Well, they played who? The Bobcats tonight?
Oh, yeah, that's right, but that's what I mean. They don't have anybody left to play.
Miami went on a 101-58 run to finish that game.
Wow. How about the Nuggets? 15 in a row. That's pretty strong.
Duncan.
Right over the top.
Some of the old Arthur Murray lessons he learned.
Here's the game. Got to score here.
Asik to Harden. Harden jumps it up. Go! James Harden gives the Rockets a lead by 1. Ginobili to Duncan. Duncan shoots it. over Asts, short, and that's the game. The game is over. The Houston Rockets have won it. Houston wins the game. James Harden with a game winner.
And the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Tiago Splitter, Danny Green, and Tony Parker. Gallinari had a monster game in the victory in Denver as he had 28 points. Had a late shot that sealed it for them in that 6-point win after the Spurs had come back from 17 down. Tiago retrieves here.
I saw Kenneth Faried there with a little 6-foot jumper, just a hair outside of his range.
Duncan takes it in against Koufos and scores! Tim Duncan, outstanding in Denver. With 31, one of his 3 30-plus games. Lost it with a miss, but they recovered. Gallinari blocked by Duncan. Recovered by Denver.
Now we need everybody on the glass, so obviously they're beating us through the 50-50 balls early on here. The Denver Nuggets know that they have to have home court advantage in that first round because it's so difficult to play there.
Timmy with a stop. Here's Tony. Duncan, another stop from Timmy. Joseph rotates. Kawhi Leonard on the attack, lays it off for Timmy. Second time got it done.
They just padding his stats out there. Had to throw it up against the rim so he can get an offensive rebound.
Lawson, Tim Duncan with a block. It comes right back to Denver, though. 10 on the shot clock. And now Chandler, no. Rebound to Leonard. Tony Parker's come up a little gimpy on that ankle. Kawhi Leonard drives, no. Tim is there. Let's see if the Spurs try to get a timeout as Parker, and now he's actually holding his knee a bit. Gallinari blocked again. Duncan, 3 blocks, 12 points, 7 boards in that first half. Duncan says, forget it. Koufos. Duncan knocks it again as Timmy is now 6 of 11 for the floor, 16 points, 9 boards for Duncan. Oh, Parker got collared there a moment by Faried. Tony in the paint. Timmy with a foul!
And that's what happens when you have McGee going after that block shot. That leaves Tim Duncan there to clean up the glass.
Duncan again.
That's a tough shot.
It falls for the big fella, Timmy! And the Spurs now lead it by 5, 94-89. Well, we mentioned Denver leading the league points in the paint. That's about 8 above their average. It was 66 tonight. Duncan misses, tips it back up and in. George Karl beside himself, thought that was definitely offensive goal. But Denver ball, 10.2 to go. They get it on the side. Spurs leading by 1. Andre Miller. Gallinari. Miller. Spurs win! Oh, mama! Spurs win! Our USAA Series history, the Spurs, as you might imagine, have dominated this thing, but the Clippers the edge this year, including a victory here, November 19th. That was the only one that was close. Here's Tony Parker. He was 6th in assists. 4 on the clock. Duncan knocks it down as Timmy makes it 4-2.
That's just making lemonade right there. Not a lot of ball movement on that possession, but Tim Duncan there to bail our guys out.
Now, Paul and Parker, different games in some aspects, but similar as Griffin gets the dunk here from Paul. They both developed into, I get everybody else going, and then in the fourth quarter, give me the ball. If I need to take over, I take over.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Kawhi Leonard on a nice pass from Tim Duncan.
A great backdoor pass and a good adjustment there from Kawhi to finish on the left side of the glass.
Spurs 31-4 at home. The Clippers are guaranteed of going 500 on the road for the first time in franchise history. They're 21-15 on the road as Tim Duncan knocks down this jumper. And Gary Neal, who has been out fighting his own health issues with plantar fasciitis, one of some other scrapes and bruises, comes in to replace Manu. Timmy, 7 on the shot. Parker lofts it up and in for 3. Oh, mama, Tony Parker with his 24th long ball, and the Spurs take the lead. Odom averages 4 points, nearly 6 rebounds in contrast.
Well, I tell you what, physically, he looks a lot better. Oh, that's and one.
Timmy.
That's an outstanding pass there from Danny Green. Great cut from Timmy Duncan, and Owens might get a check in the mail.
Danny had to look like, boy, am I glad to see you.
New Orleans and missed that shot at the end of the ball game. I believe it was New Orleans. That's when the league came out and said there should have been a foul called at the end of that ball game. Well, now you set a dangerous precedent because you're examining all the fouls at the end of the ball game, and you're going to have to come out with a statement every time there's a foul missed at the end of every ball game.
Tim Duncan, the putback here. Spurs fans just absolutely livid. Parker kicks out, Bonner to Leonard, down to Timmy. Inside, beautiful move from Tim Duncan.
Well, he catches Lamar Odom on his left side, spins back toward his right shoulder, and finds the glass wide open.
Oh, inside, Matt Bonner steals it. Parker looking to Timmy. Oh, mama!
That's just slapping Father Time right up the side of his head. There's no question about it. Tim Duncan gets out and runs that right wing like he's 25.
6 in the shot clock for Duncan. Here's DeAndre Jordan. Timmy the fadeaway. Oh,
he was able to sneak that ball past Jordan.
Parker swings it to Duncan. Over Chris Paul. Take that! Wake on wake!
That's right. Wake on wake crime right there.
The Clippers trying to win 50 for the first time in franchise history. Their most wins 49 back in the Buffalo Braves days. Underneath, Timmy to Tony. Spurs by 5, 74-69. Blocked inside. Bledsoe got him back. And the foul.
Oh, that's a good foul. That's a great foul.
Generally, Spurs shoot better than an opponent. They win. Timmy got it here as Duncan bumps that lead back to 7.
He's able to coax that ball in there.
Oh, the Spurs inside to Duncan. Yes, he had Jordan sealed, and the Spurs recognized it.
Yeah, and Danny Green was trying to get him the basketball and does the right thing. Doesn't try to enter it from his angle. Passes it to the free throw line to Boris Diaw. He has a much better angle.
Here's Crawford. Spinning shot.
Good block.
Duncan. And a foul will be called on the Clippers.
And Timmy's long arms once again catches a piece of that ball as it comes out of Crawford's hands.
Parker going to the bucket. Duncan. Got the bucket. Oh, and Parker's hurt. Tony Parker was hurt. Holding his head.
Vinny calls timeout. Is that what happened?
Spurs out of timeouts. Kawhi Leonard. Danny Green. Down by 1. Tim Duncan. He got fouled. And one.
Oh, Bill. Big mama. That's right.
Goodness gracious.
I was waiting for that. I'm telling you.
I was on delay. I didn't believe it. And Tim Duncan now, the Spurs by 1 with 2.2 to go.
He just manages to squeak that shot off and hits the front of the rim. And that's the definition of a home court bounce.
Got it. Timeout Clippers. Tim Duncan, a season high 34. Absolutely amazing. Barnes to inbound. Chris Paul.
He tried to draw the foul there.
Loose ball. Spurs win. Spurs win.
I'm disappointed as well because I wanted to see LeBron having one of the best seasons we've ever seen in the history of the game.
Yeah, the Spurs, of course, lost that meeting November 29th, 105-100. Florida being ousted today, by the way, in the NCAA. Spurs are now Florida guy in bottom. Here is Tim Duncan with the first bucket for San Antonio, and Timmy, a season-high 34 in the victory the other night against the Clippers.
You don't want Rashawn Lewis to regain his glory years in one night against you. Don't let him have that many wide-open 3 balls.
Timmy tips in the miss by Parker, and the Spurs cut it to 3. Mike Miller wins the 3. Miller Comes in averaging his 3 points a game. He plays 13 minutes of contest, just his 8th start of the year. Duncan has had it going and keeps it going as Timmy knocks down the 2.
Well, that shot's been well within his range, Bill. And this is what you don't want to allow right there.
Duncan swats away Miller's shot after a nice pass from Lewis. Nicolo had a huge game against Miami on South Beach. 15.6 boards, 5 assists in that start. He's coming out game. He's played well recently when Tony was injured too.
That's why you play those guys quality minutes.
And one for Tim Duncan. Kawhi. Back to Duncan. Battier on him. Now Lewis comes to help and take it. Again, Duncan. Double team. Haslam on him as well. Kawhi Leonard. Nice fake. Take that! Oh, Kawhi in your face!
What a shot.
Ray Allen rims it. Boris to Tony Parker. Tony in the paint to Timmy. Blocked. Got it back and scores after Anthony got a piece of the first one.
Great penetration there from Tony Parker, sucking in that defense. Kawhi gets bailed out there.
Yeah.
Leaves his feet with no one to pass it to. At the last minute, he sees Thiago spinning. Thiago with a nice give and go.
Speaking of which, Duncan to Tony Parker. Tony with a half dozen. You know it's going to be a knockdown drag out in Memphis tomorrow. Duncan got it with a turnaround.
That's a difficult shot where he turns over his right shoulder. When Tim first broke into the league, I wouldn't say his diet was the best, but over the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen him lose about 15 to 20 pounds. Every time, last summer and the summer before, and every time I went to the practice facility, he was there working out, with the exception of a lockout summer. So,
His hands wake him up around here.
That was a windmill right over the top of Udonis Haslem. That was filthy.
There's Cole. Inside. Lewis. Blocked by Duncan. Parker. Spurs push it. Bonner to Duncan. Comes up firing.
That's the play they put in for him over the last year and a half, and he continues to astound me. That's a pin down. That's a play for a 2-guard.
Inside to Timmy. Fade away. No problem! Tim Duncan! Ridiculous! 86-83. Now to Parker with Cole. 10 on the shot. Duncan.
They're running another pin down for Tim Duncan there. Good switch by Haslam.
Duncan over Haslam, won't go. Rebound Miami. 10 seconds to go. No timeout Miami.
Pick up the basketball. You got to communicate here. Don't let anything wide open.
Pass for 3.
Exactly what I said. You've got to communicate in the open court.
Miami by 2. Diao to inbounds. Tony Parker. And the Miami Heat. Without Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Mario Chalmers come into San Antonio and beat the Spurs.
Starting lineup tonight for the San Antonio Spurs features Kawhi Leonard with Duncan, Splitter, Green, and Tony Parker after not playing last night.
That's one of the things that is so much improved as a nice high-low entry from Splitter to Duncan.
San Antonio with the second best road record in the NBA. Westbrook kicks it inside. It's picked up by Parker. Oklahoma City with the 4th best home record in the league coming into tonight.
Well, you're Scott Brooks. One of the keys for you is keeping Tony Parker as Tim Duncan back-to-back baskets for the Spurs. You got to keep Tony Parker out of the paint.
Duncan remains. Parker on the wing. Boris Diaw is checked in. Neal has come in. Shot clock at 2 against Collison. The grinding Duncan with a nice spin inside. It's a 3 from Westbrook. And a rebound reeled in by Danny Green.
These are all really great looks by Westbrook in transition.
Spurs have missed 4 straight. They go inside. Mr. Reliable is there. Burke, nice move inside by Tim Duncan. 3 on 2. Cephalosha.
A 4-point swing right there.
Leonard to Duncan. And he'll drop the hammer inside. Duncan with 14 first-half points and 4 rebounds. Knocked away by Perkins, picked up by Splitter, and Duncan tosses it back in.
You know, and people, especially a lot of the talk here in Oklahoma City is about Kendrick Perkins and his time on the floor, and there should be more. Nick Collison, you know, what we're seeing in this third quarter, even though he picked up his third foul, his ability to guard Tim Duncan, the Dwight Howards, the Marc Gasols, one-on-one, it allows those other guys to be more aggressive defensively.
Westbrook is 6 of 14. Leonard putting some stress on the defense the other way. Duncan, he sets the screen. Little pick and pop right there, and Tim Duncan has knocked in another 20 points.
Kevin Martin's going to have to find his game offensively. He's coming into this, the last 2 or 3 ball games, 1 of 10 from the field. He hasn't been able to find his groove as of late.
1 of 5 tonight. Nice drive by Tim Duncan now with 22. Coming in, Cephalosha. Perkins is in there. Westbrook, Durant, and the aforementioned Ibaka. Westbrook on the wing. That's the Thunder fight. In for Tim Duncan. He slams in number 24. Duncan with Perkins right there to meet him. Shot clock is down to 8. DeColo on the cut in the drive. Right around Ibaka. Durant gallops. Duncan has the rebound, number 10, the double-double for him. Leonard then took it in a Thunder foul. That's it. It's a win for the Thunder in a much talked-about matchup on TNT.
USA Series history, Spurs not only a leader, but a dominant team here. Last time they lost in San Antonio, it was not in this building. 1997, Duncan from DeColo, Spurs even it up. Here is Scott down the lane. Duncan affected that one, but he is staying back for the moment.
And give the Hawks credit right now. They're hanging in there. They're playing some loose basketball.
Duncan, wide open. Diaw finds him for the dunk.
A little too loosely on the defensive end. Anchorman quote along. I've never been to one of those.
Duncan with the block on Johnson. Corey Joseph to the rack. Too hard.
They're just leaning a little too much. It's a great move to the basket. This momentum, he's leaning a little too much when he makes that attempt, and that carries the ball forward on the glass.
Johnson. Duncan. Block. Timmy picking up on the dribble. Hello. Not tragic, but a tip in first from Steven Jackson.
That break took about 10 seconds.
It was a slow break.
Yeah, it was slow motion.
Get it out of here, Timmy, says to Teague. 5 on the clock.
Tim Duncan with some stellar play here. There's a big block on Johnson, and then he's out leading the break. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Okay, it was only about 5 seconds.
Here is Joseph. Timmy. Finally got the handle, puts it up with the left hand and in. The Spurs by 5, 33-28. The biggest lead has been 6. Did not play against Philadelphia last night. Timmy in the paint from Steven Jackson. Spurs again by 5, and Duncan with 8 points, 7 rebounds in the early going. Hawks are 42-35, the number 6 seed right now in the East. They are 18-20 on the road. Coming off a pair of home losses. Duncan quickly to the bucket, and Timmy just like that has got double figures with 10.
He makes it look easy, and he just beats Petro along the baseline and overwhelms with his size.
10 on the shot clock as they clear. Duncan got this one to go is Timmy on cue. 39-34. And Kawhi Leonard feeds the big fella here.
That's why you can play through Kawhi right there. Has a smaller guy on his back, forces Petro to step in and help, and drops that ball off to Tim Duncan so Timmy can show off what he has left of his athleticism.
8 on the shot clock. Duncan abusing Petro. Oh, Timmy.
That time, turning over his right shoulder and giving Petro a chance for the block, and Timmy still drops him off with beautiful use of the glass.
Jones makes it a 54-51 game. Wants 13-point lead, just 3. Timmy with a banker, though, and Duncan gets him back on track. 20 points for Duncan and 9 rebounds. Blair inside to Timmy. What hands by Duncan.
There had to be a foul there. I was going to say.
Take your pick. He's got him hanging on him. It's like a tree.
Yeah, thank you.
On the move. Wow. How about the muscle of Ivan Johnson? Johnson
Once out of Fox Tech here in San Antonio. Averaged 6 points a game last year. Been all over the world playing. Averages 6 points a game this year, and he's got double figures tonight with 10.
Yeah, that wasn't a strong move or anything. He just bullied the ball in the basket.
Oh, the Tar Heel triple! Good timing for Danny Green. Blair, his 7th rebound to go with 9 points. Duncan in, one for Timmy. Speaking of the draft, the Hawks, that deal that they made with Brooklyn, they may get 2 first-round and 2 second-round picks in the upcoming draft as Tim Duncan is draft back. He's got 31 now, and that is his 5th 30-point game of the season.
Well, he was able to sneak that one over the right side of the rim.
Jones got it to go with 8 seconds remaining. Spurs got to be careful here. Leonard, they don't foul him. They can't catch him. Off to Thiago. And now it is stolen, but not enough time left with the clock sounding. And we'll see if they shoot or not. 3 free throws coming up.
Yeah.
And remember, Atlanta didn't have timeouts. They just got one. Jones, it's the second, and now a 2-point game. They simply need a putback. Kawhi Leonard, the rebound, and that's the ball game. Woo! 99-97 as the Hawks made it mighty interesting.
NBA Wednesday presented by State Farm continues from Denver, where the Nuggets have lost just 3 games all season. And tonight shoot for a franchise record 21st straight home win as they welcome the team with the best record in the West, the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs have the 2nd best road record in the league. Denver the best home mark as Fareed hits it swatted away by Splitter.
Well, people are upset. They honestly thought that he got taken down with a hit. Well, you can't give him that.
And Duncan buries it. Over the last 10 games, averaging close to 23 points per contest. Here's Duncan with 2 to shoot. And Duncan able to bank it in. 8-0 San Antonio.
Now, that's his other favorite area. When he's there, you know he always plays the glass. It's going to be off the board.
He's got a lot of favorite spots on the court this year, including the foul line, a career high in free throw shooting, over 80% for Duncan. Another empty possession for the Nuggets. Here's DeColo on the drive. Duncan, unchallenged, hits again. He's got 6 of the 10 Spurs points.
Yeah, see, they're running a clinic here right now.
And Duncan left wide open money. 8 points for Duncan.
The people are still standing because they're waiting for the first field goal.
McGee picked up the foul there. 2nd team foul on Denver. Duncan left open, and Duncan with 10 points here in the opening period. Wind chill at 0. It was 70 degrees on Monday. It's about 30 today. Splitter to the basket. Nice pass by Duncan, and the game is tied at 33.
As you go in this building over 48 minutes, you cannot get tired. And I know that sounds silly, okay? Because they're going to be on the glass.
Duncan pretty. Fake the pass. Scores. He's got 14. Just 1 week left in the regular season. Here's Duncan sizing up Koufos. Now drives on him. And gets the bounce for his 7th basket.
Okay, they're going to isolate, and they're going to force them to double team it.
Brewer catches a low pass and drives. Duncan comes over for the rejection. And a big win for Denver. They do not have a losing record against any of the Western Conference playoff teams this season.
With all the great teams that Denver had in the ABA, and then when they came into the NBA, only 3 teams in the NBA with this win tonight have won 54 games.
Meanwhile, Parker and Green in the backcourt, Splitter in the middle with Leonard and Duncan. Duncan, San Antonio again with a record of 57 and 21, and it is 2-0 San Antonio. Parker, Leonard, and right now the Kings getting hurt in transition. And there's a little runner, and Cousins blocked by Tim Duncan, and a jump ball between Cousins and Duncan.
Well, the length of Tim Duncan, and he really just doesn't leave his feet until he has to. Always under control. That's something young bigs can learn. Now watch Cousins ball fake, but you see just the extension on Duncan, and he just basically stays balanced.
And there's Duncan.
Kings
Neal.
Kings taking a lot of very difficult shots, as we've seen here in the last few minutes, and you're not going to hit a high percentage of those. And that's the kind of shots you want. Obviously, the Spurs getting them.
Jerry, very little ball movement on the Kings offensively here in this quarter. That's 4 assists for Tony Douglas. And Duncan finds Parker. Block shot. Boy, too bad he didn't flip that ball out to Salmons. He was wide open. And there's Duncan. And it's 62-56.
Another unselfish play. Tony Parker probably had a scoring opportunity, but found a teammate open with an easy scoring opportunity.
Parker. And Duncan gets the basket.
Again, very unselfish play. Splitter inside, finds Duncan outside.
64-60.
5th assist for Splitter.
Block shot, Duncan. 64-60. And there is Tim Duncan, 66-60. Duncan. And it will give Tim Duncan a chance for a three-point play. Jimmer. And it's taken by Green, Parker. And how about Thornton breaking that up? Parker able to save it. And Duncan with the dunk.
Duncan with some dunkage.
Thompson stopped there by Splitter, and Duncan. Cousins runs it down. And a foul and free throws upcoming. And that will do it. The Spurs win their 58th game of the year. And the Kings now will head to Houston. Final score, San Antonio 108, Sacramento 101.
Let me just take you back to the locker room on Friday night. Everybody was so taken aback and just struggling to handle Kobe being out. That mood has changed, though. Kobe showed the resolve, already had the surgery. His teammates now feel like they have to do this for him, so it's now some positivity that's taken over, and they want to try not to worry about it and just get focused on the game.
Meta world peace, steals it right off the bat. Meta all the way, left hand short, taken by Duncan, but he's on the line. So a little excitement on the first possession of the game as Meta hits the floor, and it's Laker ball. Here's a long shot by world peace. Again, he's going to have to get back into the flow and play more minutes with Brian on the shelf. Parker finds Duncan alone, hesitated for a moment, then knocks it down.
A 2-point game. Spurs 4 out of 10 from the field.
Here is Parker. Whips it right back to Duncan from 18 feet, and he hits it again. The 2-time MVP, top 25 NBA all-time scoring and rebounding. With the basketball, Gary Neal off of his hand. Steve Blake hustling, came up, lost it to Leonard. 2-on-1, bounce pass. Duncan off the glass and in around Dwight Howard. Here is Tim Duncan. Very revealing and very emotional, Kobe Bryant.
He's got a couple of guys on the floor right now that you got to get to behind the arc.
And Bonner was one.
Bonner is definitely one.
Duncan, again, that very flat shot that he has, and it bounces up and over the rim and scores.
He looks at Jameson. They have a nice little laugh about that one. Jameson, you kidding me?
Ando De Colo, 6'5", 190, the rookie from France. Was a second-round pick in 2009, then went to Europe and played, and he's back here in the States.
Got to get to Gary Neal.
Neal hits it.
You cannot chase, follow him off the screens.
Parker, a little two-man game between he and Tim Duncan. The big fundamental. Here's White, one-on-one with Duncan. Good first step again. Creates a little space and loses it. Powell, yeah, he comes out of the fray to beat the buzzer. Scored again, and Powell is 1 for 11. Of course, that revolving door of the San Antonio bench. Now you've still got Duncan anchoring this unit with Parker. Powell playing good defense. They're going to kind of reorganize with 6 on the shot clock. Duncan goes all the way. Blocked by Howard, but a goaltend.
Ooh, that's close. That's close.
Neal. Move it around the horn. Meeks up in the jersey of green. Duncan's going to take the Saul on the floor and beat him to the basket.
First step.
Duncan with his back to the basket. This exquisite post move. Oh, he goes and dunks it home. 37, April 25th.
That's what I remember. I said when you go to the rim as a big, don't try anything cute.
Lakers have hit 8 of 11 this quarter. They get the loose basketball. Meeks on the way. He tried to dunk it, and he got caught by the rim.
Got caught by Tim Duncan.
Yeah, didn't he though? As Green. Duncan blocked that shot right at the rim. 3:18 to play, and the Lakers leading by 9. Duncan does just that, dunks it home. MWP for 3. Not going to get there. And Green has the rebound.
11-point lead, just about cutting half with the score here. So Lakers got to get their defense back in order.
Tony Parker not in the game. Duncan. He's doubled. He has it knocked away. It's on the floor. And Duncan comes up with it. Got the garbage and scored and wanted the whistle and didn't get it. Again, would put themselves in a great position to get in the playoffs with a win here tonight. Duncan takes, scores.
Nice.
And the foul. He's going to go to the line.
That's called footwork, and that's called Mr. Fundamental. He says, I know you can block shots, Dwight. Let's see what you can do with this change of direction. Gets the pass, attacks, up, under, three-point opportunity. That's a nice play by Tim Duncan.
Joseph, front court. Back to Tim Duncan. They can't on it all. They lost. The little guy, Joseph, he scored. 4-point game, minute 9 left. Joseph goes to the other end, and it's over. The Lakers battle San Antonio tonight, and they come away with a gigantic victory.
And let's get to the San Antonio Spurs starting lineup, fueled by Shell. No other gasoline protects better. Danny Green, Tony Parker, Matt Bonner, Kawhi Leonard, and Tim Duncan. Parker pulls up in the lane, little floater no, but Duncan there for the putback. A lot of things hanging in the balance for Minnesota as we go into the offseason. Rubio no, Joseph into the game, gets it to Neal. Duncan over Steamsba and gets the inside bucket. Back to a 2-point game. Williams gets it off to Barea. JJ trying to create something inside. Misses everything. Duncan takes the basketball away. Corey Joseph. The give and the finish for Tim Duncan. And it's a new ball game here in San Antonio. Fed gets the screen from Johnson, takes it all the way to the rack, then Cunningham. Duncan pulls down a rebound. Ginobili beats Duncan running the floor without the ball, and it pays dividends for the big fundamental.
Oh man, that's just two guys that know how to play with each other.
How about starting this second half with a 6-0 run? Danny Green takes care of that. Parker gets picked up by Rubio. Screened off by Duncan. And Duncan down low for the throwdown. That was too easy for San Antonio.
Wolves PR staff help us out so much. And so many great drivers gets that runner going. So Mark Remy with the Timberwolves on their website does a great job. Joan Deason, of course, wrote a great article about Rubio today that you mentioned maybe a couple times today.
Yeah, if you haven't read that, which I retweeted it, Blair inside off the Duncan feed. And we're tied again. Timberwolves are going to finish the season at 31-51. It's their 11th road win of the year. And Jim, just their 6th road win in the building of a Western Conference opponent.
Welcome to day 2 of the 2013 NBA playoffs from San Antonio and the AT&T Center, home of the Spurs, who will open up their 16th consecutive playoffs against a familiar foe, the Los Angeles Lakers. World peace can't connect. Duncan fires a pass. Leonard down the other end, rushed the shot, and gets it back off his miss.
And Tim Duncan is quite possibly the best outlet passer in the NBA. Tremendous outlet pass. Leonard just missed the easy one.
Duncan hits the shot. What a year for Duncan. Shot 50% from the field. Probably his best year overall in about 4 or 5 years. The soul on Duncan. Duncan, 2 for 2. Like D'Antoni was kidding, saying Greg Popovich needs to run his 7 seconds or less offense.
Well, they do play faster for the last couple years, taking the offense through Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili.
Danny Green, that's a three. Green has become, in the last couple of years, one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA. And he puts the Spurs up by 5. Blake is guarding Parker. As Leonard gets the pass, Mike D'Antoni again with a hamstring injury with Nash. Want to have him too taxing. As Duncan flips it up and in.
What patience and poise in the paint.
Meanwhile, guys, the Spurs, Manu Ginobili will play, but is limited to 20 total minutes today in 5-minute intervals. And Coach Popovich admitted he was being paranoid with Ginobili, but conceded, hey, if we lose him, it's over. We've got to keep him healthy.
Al Gasol has 5 assists, 10 rebounds, and 6 points. Should have more. He's missed some open shots as Duncan left open. Miscommunication there defensively. First field goal for Blake, who finished the season with his 2 best scoring games of his career in terms of back-to-back. Had a 24 and a 23-point game. The 23-point game against San Antonio. Duncan, just kind of hung on the rim for a second. And game 1 goes to San Antonio. Final score from the AT&T Center. Spurs 91, Lakers 79.
Danny Green has it and lasers it inside now with Gasol watching Tim Duncan. Shot clock down to 7, and here comes Duncan against the glass and in to tie it at 2.
Well, I'm not quite sure there's been a better 15 to 18-foot bank shooter ever in the NBA that's been better than Tim Duncan.
Gasol against Tim Duncan. Here is Nash. He is not 100%. Aching all over the bad back, a hip, and a hamstring. And he has done all kinds of work, Reds, just to get ready to play tonight in Game 2.
What did he tell us? Only 75, 80%. He feels comfortable being on the floor. Tim Duncan active on the offensive glass. He picks up his 6th point of the evening on 3 of 5 shooting. Back-to-back, nice passes there by Steve Nash.
3 minutes gone here in the second. It's Duncan carving his way on Gasol.
It's tough for Pau Gasol at the other end.
Nash from the line. Rebound by Neal. Outlet goes to Parker. Players on the wing. Nash greets him defensively at the other end with a little move. And here's Duncan with Howard defending. Tim Duncan's got 10 points and 2 rebounds, and he has started the game 5 of 9.
Other than Pau Gasol and Dwight Howard, guys are making shots for the Lakers.
Now they got a 4-on-1. Duncan. And a turnover spawned that fast break the other way. It's Gasol. Good fake on Duncan. Corkscrews and can't get the deuce. Picked up by Tim. Outlet caught by Parker. Nash with 9.
He can barely move. He can barely move out there, Kev.
Gutty performance.
It is.
We're seeing it all over the floor from many players. Duncan and Howard. Wow. A contorted shot by Tim Duncan. He's got 14 points. None more difficult right there. His first points of the half. Nash to Gasol. Short. Good looking rebound by the long-armed Leonard. Back out to Parker. By Nash, weaving and feeding Duncan. Bullseye! Lakers will fall into an 0-2 deficit. Or is it the buzzer? That'll go. That's a 3. Making it a 102-91 final.
The NBA playoffs continue from Los Angeles. The Spurs and the Lakers, Game 3 of the best of 7. Good evening from downtown LA and the Staples Center. 62 degrees outside, a beautiful day here in Southern California, and the Lakers facing massive odds in trying to get Game 3 here at home. QB, how do you think Dwight played in the 2 games in San Antonio?
Well, it always comes down to, Mike, how many catches am I getting? You say, well, he's only averaging in this series 11 shot attempts. But the key is he's only getting to the line 6 times a game in the 2 games. Lack of fouls by Splitter or Duncan. They're playing him well.
0 for 2 at the line that time, and Duncan takes and makes his first shot of the night.
Now see, Powell knows better. You know that when Duncan catches the ball there, he's looking, that's one of his favorite areas. You've got to come to him and force him to put the ball down on the floor. The year in Indiana where World Peace made all of the all-team, all this, all that teams and scored tons of points, he posted them.
How about Duncan getting up for the alley-oop? His first game as a 37-year-old. His birthday was yesterday. And a beautiful feed from Danny Green. Parker back to Duncan. Plenty of time to line up his line drive. 3 field goals now for Tim all in a row. He has 6 points. Duhan will take a 3. He rimmed it out. Rebound by Duncan. Lakers poor shooting from the guards. 1 of 7. As you would expect, down to your final 3 guards on the roster. Top 4 guards out here tonight. Duncan comes to the basket. Beating Gasol on the open floor. That is 8 for Tim. Clock at 8. Duncan able to secure it and hits his 5th field goal. 10 for Tim.
Yeah, Timmy he's so aware now.
And the fans try to support the Lakers. Duncan over Howard. That is a thing of beauty.
He's got total game.
Much like the last game, you're in a situation where there are 5 guys on the floor playing together who have not played together at all this year. Hard to do that against a great team like the Spurs. Duncan and 1 as Darius Morris took a hit there on the hip, and the Lakers cannot afford another injury.
This is all about defense. Can you stop the movement and the high percentage shots at the San Antonio end of the floor?
And isolating Duncan.
There
Used to
it
do
is.
that very often to start halves, but hasn't gone to that as much, but still pretty darn good. Lakers' largest lead in this series is 3. Happened in the very early part of the first quarter here tonight. Only led by 2 in games 1 and 2. Wow.
See, Howard can't do that. I mean, if they're going to play big man, and they're going to screen, well, then you've got to get up. You got to go up because Duncan's having a great game here.
Parker and Duncan have combined for 16 of 20 from the field. That time, the Gasol feed from the top didn't get home.
Yeah, it's too far of a pass.
Duncan, 10 of 11. Tim Duncan is killing the Lakers. Very empty results from a lot of dollars paid out for this Lakers team.
Mike, from the beginning, we did that game the first Friday of the year.
Yes,
The obvious things. There was no transition defense.
Morris, the 3.
All right.
First 3-point knock for Darius Morris. He and Andrew Goudelock have 35 points. So if we've been told you coming in that those 2 guards who've never started a playoff game are going to have half the Laker points, you think they're kind of doing all right.
Yes, they are. And it's great for their confidence, and it's great for them looking towards next season. Look at this guy. See, he's wearing Powell. Powell's, discouraged, but Tim Duncan right now is only 12 for 15 from the field.
120-89. Spurs over the Lakers.
Welcome to the AT&T Center in San Antonio. Youth against experience. The spectacular versus cold efficiency. Contrast everywhere you look. The NBA playoffs on TNT is presented by Windows 8. The Golden State Warriors have lost 29 straight games to the San Antonio Spurs here. And here is Duncan, and he hits his first basket, playing in his 195th playoff game in his brilliant career. And here is Duncan hitting. Duncan with his 2nd field goal of the game.
We like seeing Curry now on Parker, the 2 quick point guards, to see how they can handle each other. But right now, everybody's concentrated inside on Timberwolves.
Especially Bogut. And beating Bogut to the hoop is Duncan, who has 6 points. And Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili have scored the last 16 for the Spurs, making 18 now as Duncan hits the jumper.
Both teams love to get in transition, out in transition after a make or a turnover. Both teams have to get back quickly on D.
Against Bogut, here is Duncan. And it will run for it. Tim Duncan with 16, so the big 3. Duncan 16, Parker 12, Ginobili has 8. Jared Jack replaces Klay Thompson, who goes out with 19 points and 4 personal fouls.
8 on the clock against Ezeli. The double team. Duncan beats it to the basket. Duncan now with 19 points. Here come the Spurs with Ginobili. Guarded by Bazemore. 18 on the clock. Here is Green hitting. Danny Green. His 5th three-pointer ties the game. Playing for the last shot. Stephen Curry, guarded by Leonard. Here's Curry. Can't shoot it. Fall away. Desperation. Rebound by Leonard. And we go to overtime. Here it is. Manu Ginobili pulls out, fires. And we are going into a second overtime. Parker with 4 on the clock. Parker can't do it. And now the Warriors have it. Pushing it up. Down by 1. And here's Bazemore. Bazemore! Ken Bazemore putting the Warriors up by 1 with 3.9 seconds remaining. Leonard will inbound. Here's Ginobili for 3. 1.2. Jack. And the Spurs win, and Manu Ginobili, who had missed his last 7 shots before he hit the winning 3 with 1.2 seconds left, capped an incredible comeback for the Spurs, who take a 1-0 lead. So tonight, the series resumes here in San Antonio. At the AT&T Center, the NBA playoffs on TNT is presented by Windows 8. Spurs rallied from 16 down with 4 minutes to go in regulation to overshadow a brilliant performance by Golden State's Steph Curry, who scored 44 points. And here as Parker finds an open space, and he scores. And it's 3-2 Golden State. And here is Duncan left open for the shot. And Duncan hits his first field goal. Kawhi Leonard hemmed in nicely by Harrison Barnes. 10 on the shot clock. Shooting over Bogut, banking it in. How many times have we seen Duncan with that bank shot?
You're talking about Draymond Green. You're talking to the coaching staff of the Warriors, asking what's so special about this guy. Mark Jackson said he's a leader. He's one of our best leaders, and he says it doesn't matter if he's a rookie, second, or third-year player. He leads with experience, and it's just some of the intangibles he has for this Warriors team.
And how about this Golden State backcourt as Klay Thompson scores? Here is Kawhi Leonard, and it's put up by Duncan on the follow. Duncan now has 8 points, 8-point lead. And the basket, Thompson the foul. And Tim Duncan will go to the line for an and 1.
I wonder what his father told him. I wonder what Curry's father, the advice that they gave Thompson's father, a champion with the Lakers. Curry's father, such an exceptional shooter. Not just to be able to have a coach, as you see Tim, that signature jumper off the glass.
And it's the biggest lead of the game for the Warriors, 56-41. And the crowd silenced again. They were that way most of game number 1 until the last 4 minutes of the 4th, it seemed. 2 minutes to go as Duncan powers his way in. Duncan with 17 on 6 for 10 from the field. Curry over Parker. Rebound by Neal. Neal starts the second half. And Neal can't convert. Kawhi Leonard battling Thompson. Volleyball game. Duncan going back to Leonard. A touch pass to Leonard interior and a chance for the and 1. Spurs not shooting well, and there is Klay Thompson blocked by Duncan. It comes back, and now Neal will clear it. 19-point lead. That was the halftime deficit. Nearing 3 minutes gone by here in this third quarter. Nick Stockton along with Chris Webber, David Aldridge. Game 2, Duncan versus Bogut. Duncan wins that one. Duncan with 19, 17-point edge. Ezeli now guarding Duncan closer. He'll go to the hoop and get the layup.
Bogut with 4 fouls defending against Duncan. Here is Neal shooting over Bogut. Duncan with the field goal. Duncan now 9 of 20 from the field, 23 points. Parker next with 18. And all 4 conference semifinal series are all even in 1-1. And the Warriors do it. One heart to come back after that double overtime loss on Monday. Golden State over San Antonio, 100-91.
Oracle Arena for Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals between Golden State and San Antonio. The series is tied at 1. The Spurs won Game 1 in double overtime. And the Warriors, after blowing a 16-point lead in that game, came back and won Game 2. And a great pass by Curry to Ezeli, and it's rejected by Duncan out of play.
Anytime you shoot 48% like Golden State is doing, and you have 13 offensive rebounds, you know your front line is working.
Here's Kawhi Leonard off the Duncan screen. Duncan's jump shot is there. Tim Duncan this year, 18 points per game in 30 minutes per game. Thompson was the hero in Game 2 with 34 points, took 26 shots in that game, 8 of 9 from 3, but he has not gotten free just yet, hasn't forced it.
Yeah, but great scores. It will even out. You know, he will eventually get involved here. Right now, he was spending a lot of time on Parker. Now they have him guarding Ginobili.
Tim Duncan with the bank shot. There's Landry with a face-up on Duncan. Now spins and scores, and it's a 4-point game.
Yeah, I love this guy. I love Landry. He's a guy who comes off the bench, rebounds, plays defense, dives on the floor, and it gets you double figures.
But fell asleep there, and Tim Duncan with the easy basket underneath. Curry another air ball. Danny Green defending him beautifully, and then Green gets to the loose ball and feeds a cutting Tim Duncan.
Now, that was a great catch in traffic with Curry, and then the presence of mind to get the ball to Duncan.
Duncan and Tim Duncan with 12 points in this game. Duncan's jump shot is good.
That's what they need. They need your 2 guys who are your main people out there right now to lead them.
14 now for Curry in the game. Here's Parker to make that Duncan, and Tim Duncan able to get the roll, driving into the lane on Ezeli. Boy, Tim Duncan having a terrific quarter. 8 points, 18 on the night.
We get stuff, we off to the races.
They got to stop. They were off to the races there. Thompson couldn't finish, and then Duncan has it.
Yeah, that was a good defensive play.
Neal off the hard Duncan screen. Try to return it to Duncan.
Good time.
Shot clock at 4. Duncan falling away, hit it, and a foul on Bogut. What a shot by Duncan, and a 3-point opportunity. Ginobili underneath, beautifully done. Duncan to Ginobili in the lead, back to 7. Warriors continue with the smaller lineup. Landry trying to defend Tim Duncan. And Duncan falling away, gets his 23rd point.
He's never going to worry. He's never going to hurry.
The San Antonio Spurs take Game 3 in Oakland. They reclaim home court advantage with a 102-92 win.
San Antonio starting lineups, it's Duncan and Splitter as the big men with Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. Their defense has been difference-making. Carl Landry called for his first foul. Duncan loves to bank it from that side. Does so right there over Bogut. And it's a 2-point Golden State lead. Fans not wishing Mother's Day greetings to the 3 men with whistles.
No double team.
Duncan would love to get 2 on Bogut and then 1. So that's everything there. No double team. The foul on Bogut, who gets a technical foul from Bill Kennedy as well, as he gave him a piece of his mind.
They're coming in. Green was 9 for 18, shooting 50% in 3. So don't be surprised. He'll stay behind that 3-pointer.
Jack had him moving it on with the crossover, and Duncan turned it away.
Well, you look at the starting lineup there, and you realize that 3 of your main starters for Oklahoma City, was 6 for 25, and that will not get it done. Then the bench play was shoddy yesterday in their production, and usually the bench guys step up and give you major production.
Duncan, a lot of dribbling, over Beamer, stays with it, and scores.
I love this guy's game. Thompson, he can rebound, he can defend, He can get out on the open floor, run hard, and then he can make the three ball and shoot a high percentage.
Right now it's a struggle. Parker got all the way into Ezeli's body, couldn't score, but Duncan cleans it up. Lefty sent right. Fans want the walk. Duncan and Ezeli's got his 2 fouls, and Tim Duncan has 13 points. Richard Jefferson blocked by Duncan. They met back in the finals about a decade ago.
Now Duncan came from the other side of the lane.
Going small, only Duncan out there. The big for the Spurs, back right in on Landry and scores. Good to have a Hall of Famer at your disposal when you need a basket to calm things down. Duncan from the top. I love what Parker does. He comes right across the free throw line. And Duncan just slides in slowly behind. Nervous noise. The crescendo rising.
Got to get going here now.
Jack on Parker. Jarrett Jack for the lead. Short, and we'll go to overtime. A best of 7. Now a best of 3. 2-2. Warriors and Spurs.
Welcome to Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals from San Antonio, Texas. The AT&T Center sold out as the Spurs face off once again versus the Memphis Grizzlies. They've been letting them first. There were a couple of quick whistles to start the game, but since then, a lot of contact. They're letting them play at both ends. Bonner comes off a screen and knocks it down. Matt Bonner with 5 points. There was 5 points, 3 boards, couple of assists. Parker to Duncan. Duncan hammered, count it, and 1. As Randolph picks up his 2nd foul. Duncan turnaround. He had one blocked earlier by Gasol and wanted to go right back there. Spurs by 5. Ginobili behind the back to Duncan. Kicks it out. Danny Green for 3. Knocks it down. 8-point Spurs lead. Parker with 7 of the Spurs' 15 assists. Duncan, the jump shot. Spurs have made 7 in a row as they lead by 13. Duncan with the block. Splitter to Parker. Parker, Leonard will try again. 2 wide open threes that could have blown this game open. Allen blocked by Duncan. Allen drives again. Blocked from behind. Leonard. Allen misses the layup. Randolph's tip won't go. Gets it back again. Randolph again. It won't misses. Roten tries. Knocked loose. Picked up by Duncan. And a foul. What a defensive stand for the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, terrific energy by Memphis. The effort is there. The efficiency is not. Point-blank layups missed. And then the frustration to foul a full 94 feet from the basket and in the penalty.
Duncan doubled out to Parker. Parker for 3. Tony Parker doing it all for the San Antonio Spurs. Timeout Memphis. Green is free. They don't get it to him. Ginobili. Now Duncan. Duncan turns, fires. And we're going to overtime. Foul trouble. 5 for Gasol, 5 for Duncan. Duncan drives and finishes. 5 to shoot. Parker pulls up. High archer. Short. Duncan the offensive rebound. Banks in the follow. Conley gets inside. Whips it to Gasol. Layup short. Duncan may have gotten a piece of it. Here comes Leonard. Ginobili goes to the corner to spread the offense. Parker on the drive. Kicks it out to Duncan. The fake by Duncan. Floats it up. Bounces around and drops through. Timeout Memphis. Dexter's their best three-point shooter. Bayless lines up a 3. Way off the mark. Rebound by Joseph. And Joseph is fouled with 10.6 remaining. Lionel Hollins is beside himself. Clutch free throw there from Joseph.
But still plenty of time. Drive the ball to the rim.
Bayless makes his move. Back out to Gasol. Back to Bayless. Bayless fires a 3. Won't go. Pondexter the rebound. A buzzer sounds and San Antonio survives and takes a 2-0 lead. Welcome to Memphis, Tennessee, and Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Memphis Grizzlies. They're crazed about their Grizzlies back home after losing the first 2 games in San Antonio.
And what I like about Prince's decisions tonight, no hesitation, no shot fakes when people aren't closing to you, just catch and shoot.
And the crowd momentarily silenced. They've been on their feet. Certainly the lower deck has been standing the whole time. Now they finally sit down, or at least some of them do. Marc Gasol nearly stripped. Instead gets it to Allen. Shot blocked by Duncan. Right back to Allen. Prince steps up. He's not hesitating and drills the jumper. An 11-point lead, and Greg Popovich needs another timeout. No warnings in the playoffs when you flop right away. A $5,000 fine on the first one. Duncan doubled, gets away, and puts it in.
Great patience by Duncan.
Duncan, easy. Oh, he missed it. Right there by the foul. Nice pass from Dion.
But you see how he keeps the ball high against the front.
Duncan, by the way, also this week, first team All-NBA. 10th time he's been on the first team. First time that happened was 15 years ago. How about that? 15 years ago he gets NBA All-First Team. 15 years later he gets the honor again.
When you think about it, at 2 different positions. Came in as a power forward and now as a center.
Duncan runs. Gasol didn't want to commit the foul there. And the Spurs chipping away. An 18-point lead has been cut to 6 now. Crowd responding to a replay. As if they need a replay to respond. Duncan, line drive shot. And the 18-point lead is now cut to 1. Nice pass, Duncan inside. And Tony Parker's been scoring more. That's his 3rd assist. Bayless in and out. Duncan's 8th rebound. 7-point Memphis lead. Under 3 to play in the 3rd. Duncan, pretty bounce pass, and Boris Diaw finishes. Final seconds here of the 3rd. The 24-second clock shut off. Parker to Duncan, and Duncan banks it in. A rare free throw for the Grizzlies. It's only their 6th free throw attempt. They average about 30 a game as Duncan gets inside.
But you see how the shooting of San Antonio has spread out the Grizzlies' defense.
Ginobili steps back, 3-pointer. It's good. Manu Ginobili starting to have a big impact on this game. Randolph puts his head down, trying to draw the foul. Out of bounds. They say last touch by San Antonio. Bayless floats it up to Gasol, who has nothing to do but just try and chip it away. Spurs played that beautifully. Nice feed to Duncan. And San Antonio back up by 2. Danny Green with a bullet pass. Duncan to Ginobili, layup. Oh, what a beautiful pass from Duncan. Leonard on Conley. 6 seconds. Gasol looking. Back to Conley. Conley on the drive. The runner puts it up. Shot won't go. Rebound. And that's it. Overtime for the 2nd consecutive game. Well, San Antonio winning game 2 by outscoring Memphis 8-4 in the overtime. Tim Duncan had a huge overtime period and starts this one just as well. Duncan drives on Gasol. Banks it in and a foul. Gasol took a shot in the mouth as Duncan forced a contact, and Duncan 2 quick buckets here in the OT. And the Spurs can afford to take some time off right now. Under 2.5 remaining. Splitter up and in. Tim Duncan with another nice pass, and it's an 8-point lead in overtime. Timeout Memphis.
You have to trap. They're just going to run the clock down.
Now with it at 9, might as well let this possession go. Gasol trying to help. Parker looking for an opening. Parker's jumper, back of the rim, won't go. Duncan tips it in. With 37.7 remaining, it's back up to 9. Timeout Grizzlies. And San Antonio now 1 win away from getting back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2007. And the Spurs take a commanding 3-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals. Welcome to Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals from Memphis, Tennessee. Will it be the final game of what's been the best Grizzlies season ever? Will the Spurs make it back to the NBA Finals? Or will we have a Game 5 back in San Antonio? These 3.5 minutes, it looks like Memphis has come out with a little fight in them.
Well, it's good to to play from in front when you are struggling to get a win, because it does get you better sense of belief versus taking a punch right away, which sometimes saps your energy.
Duncan, the block shot down the other end. Danny Green, the floater. Splitter is he's such a smart defender. You talk to Greg Popovich, great at defending the pick and roll. As Duncan rattles it in, 8 straight points by San Antonio. All 5 starters have scored.
What wasn't talked about there is oftentimes, though, after Greg Popovich coached Tony Parker hard in practice as he gets another uncontested layup, is that he would take him out for a glass of wine.
Dial again, this time to Duncan. Duncan's shot is up and in. Second field goal for Duncan. The lead back to 11. Largest has been 12. Leonard with the steal. Parker back to Duncan. And San Antonio back up by 11. Allen on Parker. Tony Allen has 3 fouls. Duncan from outside. He's been hitting that so much more consistently, certainly late in the season and in the playoffs. Conley blocked by Duncan. Tim Duncan now with 3 block shots. Allen guarding Parker. Allen has 4 fouls. Parker on the drive, blocked from off. It goes to Duncan. It looked like Allen got a block, and Duncan finishes with a dunk. It's back up by 8.
And Duncan got hit on the dunk, but I don't like this matchup of the smaller Mike Conley on Ginobili, just because of foul trouble.
Ginobili makes his move, finds Duncan. Duncan, bank shot is good. Deflected and stolen by Leonard.
That length has really bothered Mike Conley.
And Duncan running the floor, banks it in. Grizzlies do not get back, and once again, the oldest guy gets back before anyone.
And a terrific pass by Ginobili.
And the San Antonio Spurs are going back to the NBA Finals. First time since 2007. Welcome back to Miami. The fans are ready. The players and coaches are ready. As we're set to go here for game 1. We have the 2 best shooting teams in the postseason, as well as during the regular season. Very efficient offenses for the most part, as Danny Green knocks down the 3.
That's just great offense. When he was a road official,
look, he's got the whistle.
He also gave me a technical foul there. But when he was on the road and you were playing, you felt good.
Can't get a better compliment. Meanwhile, Duncan and Parker complimenting each other as always as Ginobili set to check in. Dangerous pass. Duncan able to catch it. Here's Boris Diaw with the reverse. A nice methodical move from Diaw, who doesn't play a lot of minutes, but has been very effective for Greg Popovich. Duncan backs in and scores easily. LeBron James getting a rest now. Wade gets inside. Fast. Anderson shot blocked by Duncan. Just past the midway point, second quarter. Duncan isolated against Bosch. Good defense, just better offense. Danny Green again. Duncan right there to clean it up. Parker finds Duncan. Nice pass. Duncan with the finish. Just beautiful 2-man game. Wade gets some ooze from the crowd. Duncan his second block. James gets it. And they're going to call a jump ball. Good defensive play on the interior for San Antonio. Duncan's going to shoot it. Steps back and puts it in. As the buzzer sounds, they'll review it. But it appeared Duncan got it off in time. James likes this matchup against Splitter. Gets it off to Chalmers wide open. That misses. After the early hot start, they've been a little off from downtown. Duncan connects.
And to me, Mike, that, along with his free throw shooting, has been the biggest change. That set where they post James up by filling the strong side corner was very effective against Indiana. Good move, but that's outstanding defense by Kawhi Leonard.
Duncan, no problems. He wanted a foul as well. Haslam, who's a tough, hard-working defender, he's just not big enough. Duncan gets the pass, feeds Leonard, left-handed switch. Duncan with the tip, up and in. And a 4-point lead for San Antonio. Parker again on the drive, pull-up shot. Side of the rim, James another rebound. James the drive, stripped but fouled. And LeBron James will go to the line for only the third and fourth time tonight. 2-point game. Miller picks up Parker on the screen. Now Bosch has him. Parker on the drive, nearly lost it, still dribbling. Parker with 2 to shoot. Just gets it off in time, and he banks it in. What a shot from Parker. Gets off his feet and puts San Antonio up 4. Now they'll review it to make sure that Parker got it off before the shot clock expired. It was very, very close. Miller throws it into James. Quick shot in. Shot won't go. Duncan lost it. Tipped by Miller. And that's it. San Antonio comes into Miami and wins game 1 here in the 2013 finals. The noise in the AT&T Center in San Antonio was deafening on Tuesday night as the Spurs put on a dominant performance to regain the lead in these NBA finals. Tony Parker will be in the starting lineup tonight as his Spurs had a record-setting 3-point display in the Game 3 victory. Nice pass. Ginobili thread the needle, and Duncan finishes his first field goal. Parker trying to find Duncan. Pretty pass from Parker. Back to 7.
Quietly, Eric Spoelstra didn't just make a lineup change for the starters as Wade misses his jump hook. First big man off the bench, Haslam. No Chris Anderson tonight so far. Trying to get Battier back in the mix as Duncan hits the running left-hand hook.
Wade goes at Diaw, misses the layup. James the rebound, missed the left-hander. Ball knocked loose and picked up by Green.
But why are there 3 Miami Heat players not crossing half court and getting into the fight after James misses?
Duncan, nice feed to Diaw. Boris Diaw, always a smart player, moving without the basketball, and the Spurs up by 2.
We have gotten soft. We're saying Bosch was fouled on that one in the post with Duncan, and now Wade. Oh my goodness. This is the NBA Finals.
Diaw into Duncan. Duncan with the left hand. James drives, blocked by Duncan. Diaw can't hold on, and it's going to be Miami ball. Duncan inside, banks it in. Leonard. Parker finds Duncan. Duncan flips it up and gets the roll. There will be a game 6 here in these finals, as the series is guaranteed to go back to Miami. It's the final home game of the season for the San Antonio Spurs. It's their turn to bounce back after a 16-point loss in game 4 and a sellout crowd at the AT&T Center. Another nice entry pass. Duncan throws it down. I think Ginobili likes to start. And Green gets it on the way down. Both guys mistimed their jumps to start. Ginobili to Duncan. An aggressive Tim Duncan. And the Spurs are 4 for 4. Duncan goes right at Bosch. Ginobili sets another 3. Puts it in. Manu Ginobili has 8 points. He scored 5 total in game 4. Nice entry pass to Duncan. Duncan. How many times have we seen that move over 16 years? James harassing Parker. Duncan wants it. 4 to shoot. Duncan turns. Back shot is good. He's got 11. Duncan. Again, nice entry pass.
Great pass by Ginobili against the front of Haslam.
James barrels in, shot short, gets his rebound. Back up. That won't go. Diaw tips it out, picked up by Leonard. Parker out to Green. Green for 3. Duncan on the follow. 19-point lead. Timeout Miami. Duncan fakes. Spins inside. Banks it in. Vintage move from Tim Duncan. James strong to the basket. He thought he was hit. Ginobili the other way. Green steps back for 3. Bang! And the Spurs will head to Miami, up 3-2 here in the NBA Finals. The Spurs and Heat are back in Miami. They've alternated wins for 5 straight games, providing us with a series of extreme twists and turns. LeBron James and the Heat facing elimination. Can he lift his team once again and force a Game 7? All the first quarters have been relatively close until the last game, when the Spurs came out big as Duncan knocks it in off the glass. But this is the end of the floor that Eric Spoelstra wants to see improved as Duncan gets an easy 2. You heard the words like unacceptable. Parker, again, was terrific in the last game. Gets inside, finds Duncan, and Duncan throws it down. The penetration of Parker leads to an easy look. Duncan goes right at Bosch, gets away from the double team, and puts in a difficult shot.
On that block, he's hurt Bosch. Starting middle, spinning back to the baseline for his right-hand jump hook.
Dio now has Mike Miller on him.
Norris Cole, not the first sub in, playing with the no-point guard lineup as Duncan off to a red-hot start. And now that brings James on to Tony Parker. A lot of cross matches.
Ginobili rifles a pass down low. Battier's on Duncan, mismatch there. James looking to help. Tries to swat it away. Duncan rushes the shot. He thought he got hit and still managed to put it in. Leonard short. Duncan right there to clean it up. Duncan is now 7 for 7 from the field. Chalmers out to Bosch. Poked away by Leonard. Or Kawhi Leonard, such quick hands, his second steal. Single coverage, Bosch on Duncan, goes right to the rim and finishes 8 for 8 for Tim Duncan. Duncan finally misses, but Leonard the rebound and gets him a new 24. He is a phenomenal rebounder for his position.
He is a superior rebounder, and that allows San Antonio to play small, but still rebound the ball so exceptionally well.
And there's Duncan rebounding the ball. 16 points, 5 boards for Duncan. Miami's lead cut to 1. Parker in for Ginobili. 6 to shoot for Duncan. Duncan across the lane. Nice soft touch. He's got 23. He is turning back the clock offensively here in the first half. James to Bosch. Good baseline jumper. Can't get it to fall. Duncan with 8 rebounds as well. Diaw, what a pass to Duncan. And the Spurs regain the lead. Boris Diaw with a gorgeous feed. Duncan has 25. Wade coming right back out onto the floor. As Ginobili throws it in. Duncan lays it in. James can't connect. The lead is back to 9, which equals the largest lead of the game. Parker down the lane, layup won't go. Duncan and a foul. Tim Duncan on the follow. And our first double-digit lead of the night. 30 points for Tim Duncan. James all over him. 6 to shoot. Parker pulls back. That's a three-pointer. It's good. Tony Parker ties the game with 1:27 remaining. Chalmers gets in the paint. Flips it inside. Stolen by Parker. Parker gets in the paint. Stops, spins, shot is good. Tony Parker, back-to-back buckets, and the Spurs regain the lead. James catches, fires a 3, way off. Rebound tipped, still loose, picked up by Miller. Back out to James, another 3. It's good. James knocks it down. 2-point game with 20 seconds remaining. Duncan looking, has to get it in, finds Leonard. Leonard fouled by Miller, who did a good job fouling right away. Clutch one there from Leonard. Should the Spurs foul? Should Miami go for the 3 right away?
Just attack the basket.
James catches, puts up a 3. Won't go. Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining. Spurs do not have a timeout. Here goes Parker. Final seconds. Parker on the drive. Puts it up. Overtime here in Game 6. They need a 3. Green trying to get free. Cross-court pass to Green. Green blocked by Bosch. Game over. There'll be a Game 7. LeBron James and the Heat coming off one of the most remarkable finishes you'll ever see. A breathtaking overtime victory in Game 6 to keep their season alive. Meanwhile, Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs suffering as gut-wrenching a loss as you can imagine. Now the former champs with an opportunity to redeem themselves. Parker backdoor gets away from Miller, and a nice finish. Nice pass, and James converts it.
And very interesting, Danny Green is matched up on Chalmers tonight. Tony Parker on Mike Miller, maybe to try to conserve some of Tony Parker's energy.
Nice tip in from Duncan off Green's miss. James went for a steal. It opened things up a bit, and the Spurs have the early lead. Duncan, of course, had that unbelievable start and comes up with a steal here. Duncan, you rarely see this on a fast break, and finishes down the other end. Duncan did a number on Bosch in the first half of Game 6. Gets the pass inside. Another good look. Duncan to Diaw. For Eric Spoelstra, LeBron James has been very successful guarding Parker, but it'd be hard for him to put him on him all game, correct?
Well, it would be more taxing energy-wise as Bosch fouls Duncan and now has 3.
And Wade shaken up. Now you see Leonard backing up. Same thing for Green. They're daring him to shoot, but he's hit 2. Tries another. Not that time. Leonard the rebound. His 10th rebound in the first half. Ginobili pushing. Finds Duncan. And that's the pace San Antonio wants. And we're tied at 40. Championship on the line tonight. And Jeff, this game is there for the taking. Neither team has been sharp. They both look a little fatigued at times. But neither team can take control. Duncan turns, shoots, and hits. In and out, halfway down. Another way for Diaw. That's only his 5th three-pointer of the playoffs. Nice entry pass to Duncan. And the Spurs regain the lead. Wade down the other end, pull-up jumper. Won't go. Anderson the rebound. Back to Wade. Shot blocked. James gets it. His shot knocked away, but a foul. Second and third effort by the Miami Heat. They'll shoot free throws. James drives underneath, back up top. Battier off the mark, and Leonard tracks down yet another rebound, his 13th. Parker the drive, wild shot. Duncan right there to clean it up. Here comes James, drives, kicks out Battier for 3. Bang! Duncan down low, puts it up, banks it in, and a foul. Tim Duncan with a difficult shot, and San Antonio back within 4. The Spurs will not foul. Final seconds. What a finish. It's back-to-back titles for the Heat. The 2013 NBA championship resides once again in Miami.